Hi guys, YouTube and our first post on Rumble. We've got a fellow YouTuber joining us today. Josh, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Dhillon on YouTube, if you can try and find it. We've just had a discussion about it. Some people can't find it. I'm a political commentator, talk about everything going on in the world that I'm allowed to talk about within the realms of YouTube without getting into too much trouble.
Yeah, we'll leave your details and everything in the description below, so if anyone wants to access it, it'll all be there.
Thank you. That's cool.
Yeah, cool. So, should we get started? You got a talking point, Cam?
Yeah, well, I think we should discuss first. There's a couple of things that's going on in the news at the moment, but one thing I'm really interested in is the pushback that's going on in China at the moment. It's been a long time coming, and I don't know, when I heard about the pushback and I've looked into it and I've seen the protest, I get a sense of pride from it, in the sense that I'm happy and I'm proud of the people in China for fighting back, or at least standing up to something which has been completely inhumane on China's part. But we good to hear everyone else's thoughts.
Yeah, I made a video on that. I think it was yesterday. I think it's very, like, if you go on Twitter, you can find hundreds of videos of people protesting, fighting back, people say, but my concern is it won't last long. I think the Chinese authorities, Chinese government are probably the toughest government out there. And I'm surprised we even know about this, to be fair, because the last 2 years shown us that they can hide everything. And we have to wait for somebody to use, I don't even know how they get it out, because their surveillance of their life is insane. I don't think we even really understand. We hear about, the cameras, social credit score, blah, 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 but I don't really think we truly understand it. So you have to wait for somebody using a VPN in Beijing to upload it onto Twitter, and then you see it. And somehow all of these are now coming out. And it's so strange to me that now everybody's talking about it, because the media especially tend to ignore everything. I mean, they're not really talking about it as much as I think they should be talking about it, but they're very silent on it. And there's many reasons for that. I feel like people don't want to get into trouble, with China's authorities. And it's interesting how Sky News have spun the story as well, because when people in this country protested, they were labeled as dangerous conspiracy theorists. But then I saw an article the other day by Sky News saying this is a brave act by the Chinese people. So what's the difference between us doing it and them doing it?
I was gonna say the exact same thing. It's moving away from how China are dealing with the protests, more how the West are portraying it. And when you think back to when COVID was a big thing in the West, and the Canadian truckers were all protesting, they're all seen as alt-right wing conspiracy theorists, and Canadian government was shutting down their bank accounts and weren't able to access any funds. But now China are protesting, the media portrayed it to us as a brave act, the Chinese public are fighting back. But when we're protesting against our government, we're just labeled straight away as conspiracy nuts.
Well, it's crazy, because I think it's just propaganda for everybody to then dislike China even more. Because in the news, we're told as China is this scary country, which by all means they are, they control so much, financially. We get everything from China as well. So I do think the protests I don't know how long they're going to last for. That's the thing, because how long can you protest before you just give up?
But I was listening to, I don't know if you've listened to Redacted, Josh. It's two American presenters who basically give you an alternative spin on the news. Well, maybe you could. I don't know what I consider the truth and what's not the truth. But
Fox, I think, ex-Fox presenters that give up working for mainstream.
And yeah, they've set up a YouTube channel. I was listening to that literally just before the podcast, and they were saying that the lockdowns in China, the government are starting to slow them down, get rid of them. They released a video, whereas when usually all the government staff are wearing masks, but they released a video, I think today or yesterday, and none of the government officials were wearing masks. So they were implying that the protests are actually working and the Chinese government are giving the people what they want. But
I don't know. I mean, I said in the video, this will be in the news for a week. and then it will be something else, and we won't hear about China for like another few months when more people are protesting. Everything is so hidden over there. We don't really know, as they did when everything first kicked off 2-3 years ago. We didn't really know what was going on, and they still try and hide it now, but that's due to our media and their media as well. I mean, it's very hard to talk about China because like I just don't see how a government that has been that strict for many, many years is suddenly now going to allow their people to have all the freedom.
There's something else behind it. If they do end up slowing it down, there's a reason why they're going to slow it down, and it's not for the reason people are there to think. And as well, I think the media are covering it in the West in the way they are because there's going to be some sort of backlash in China. Their government, the CCP, is going to do something to these people, and I guess the media are just seeing it as they obviously know there's going to be a backlash. Let's pick it up early and document this whole journey because I reckon there's going to be arrests. There's going to be, well, it's probably even worse than arrests over
There
there.
has been arrests. I don't know if you saw a BBC. Apparently, who knows if it's true these days? A BBC journalist got arrested the other day. I don't know what they did. I mean, I assume they were just in the crowd and standing with the Chinese people, and they got arrested. And the authority was like, "Nah, you're coming with us." Like that. It's like they don't really care at this point. But what scares me the most is I've seen certain people in different positions saying, "Oh, China is a great role model for how we want the world to be going forward." Now, if that's a great role model, a George Orwell 1984 live action film, I don't want any part in it.
Mm.
This is Justin Trudeau said. I think he said those exact words.
He wants that for China, doesn't he? For Canada, sorry.
Yeah, he wants that in Canada.
Well, it's interesting how he spoke out against it. He said, "Oh yeah, we stand with the Chinese people," after he just got grilled by Xi Jinping like 2 weeks ago at the G20 thing. But then the Biden administration are sat there saying they're not really talking much about it. So that's strange to me. I mean, I saw Rishi Sunak in a video the other day saying the golden age between China and England is over. Didn't even know there was a golden age. But like, it's interesting to me how he says that when like the organization that he's secretly in, the head of that, has just said, "Oh yeah, China's a great role model." It literally doesn't make any sense to me.
We have a theory what we've discussed, me and Aaron discussed on the podcast before, because we've been doing a lot around the Great Reset and the global elites, etc., etc. And what it seems, and it does seem quite obvious, is it's all connected in one way or another. America, the amount of power that America have, the amount of power that China have, they have to be working together. But I certainly feel like whatever's happening in China with this control method that they're using will be implemented over here. It's just being sort of trialed out in China. See how bad the processes are. Sort of get all the processes in order of how to control the processes, and see what life's like after the protest, after people have stood up. Like, will it ever end, or like you said, like it will come to an end, these protests, because you can't protest forever. And then what happens? Then they have to sort of bow down on the knees and give in to what's being.
Yeah, I mean, I do think if that was to happen, I think the Western world would rebel probably a bit more, because as much as I don't like English culture, I don't really like how this godless country is going. I still do think that if something like that happened, people would fight back. It's just for how long, and then their favorite TV shows on the weekend. England might get to the final of the World Cup, and then who cares? And then they just accept it. And then what we said before the podcast, they always say, well, what can we do about it? That's always the question. And they keep people distracted long enough so nobody can find out what to do, because if think about it, if billions of people come together at once, it's impossible. But imagine if they did, like, tomorrow could change forever. And that's where I think the left and the right is used as a massive distraction. Like, if you're not part of the left, then you're automatically part of the right. But it's just a big, massive distraction. Then you unveil that curtain, and that's what's really going on.
When you boil down like the left and the right, we're all fighting pretty much for the same thing. We just pretty much just want to be free and left alone. So
but the left's freedom,
your own shit,
compared to the right freedom, I feel like it's a very different. Like, the left freedom is all about, it doesn't matter what gender you are, do what you want. Tomorrow you can be something else. and you can't say anything. You can be biracial. You can get a $200,000 surgery to be Korean, like this Ollie London guy did, and then come back and say, "Oh no, you know what? I'm not that anymore." But then the rights freedom, people label it as racist, misogynistic, homophobic, whatever. So I think they're very different. I think there does need to be balance. I feel like it's been out of balance for so long.
It's just getting wider and wider, the gap between the left and the right. And it's got to the point, well, obviously we all can be manipulated and people are being manipulated. That's why we're in the situation where the gap's getting wider and wider. But I feel like it's at a point now where finding that balance that you've just said is going to be so difficult because the gap's way too far. I don't know if there's a bridge like long enough to connect where we're at right now.
I don't think there's never going to be balance. I think that's just wishful thinking. How can you bring people together that are purposely divided more and more every day just because of a headline? Words now on a screen invoke such an emotional reaction in people. There's no way you can come together. That's the thing. I don't think it ever will. I do think one day there will be a massive revolution, but I don't see the world changing anytime soon. I think it's going to get a lot worse. And I feel like in the UK, we're brought up more left-leaning. As like, you always get these old people that people label as racist, blah, 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 blah. But they're actually more woke than you realize. Like, if you actually have a conversation with them, they're actually stupid. So when you have different views, like say for you or I, it becomes very isolated because we'll take this World Cup, for example, right? I'm sat there and I'm like, this, like the backlash behind it. Yeah, okay, you can talk about it, but don't keep on talking about it. And I'll turn to the person next to me saying, why can't just people play the football, go home and like, oh, well, blah, blah, blah. It's like, what? So I don't know. And I think all of these things are just a massive distraction. That's.
Yeah. I think that this LBGTQ stuff in the World Cup, I think.
You butchered that.
Well, doesn't matter. Any letter of the alphabet.
Yeah.
There, so.
I think that's just a massive, massive distraction.
Well, yeah, I mean, I saw a video by somebody that saying, if we held the World Cup here, would the people from Qatar come over here and enforce their worldviews on us?
Yeah, exactly.
No.
That was the point that's the point I was going to make. And I was going to say, Qatar haven't said LGBTQ people can't come here and enjoy the World Cup. All they've said is you can't have your symbols up around all the stadiums and the players can't wear all the symbols because we don't want these ideologies imposing on like an Islamic country like where we have our own ideologies, which I think is fair enough. They're not saying no gay people allowed in the stadium or no gay people allowed in our country. They're saying everybody's welcome. We just don't want all these symbols around. And that's it.
I mean, even straight people can't hold hands, do whatever. So where's the armband for that stuff?
It's like if you go to someone's house and they say, oh, do you mind taking your shoes off? You're not going to say, well, I'll leave my shoes on in my house and then walk in with your shoes on.
Well, they might these days, you never know. That's what I mean. It's like people just...
Yeah.
This rainbow flag's only been recently claimed in the most recent time. Before, the rainbow was just a thing in the sky. Now it's everywhere. And what it stands for more than, say, the cross on Christianity. Like, it's an actual religion to people. It's not. So they get rid of all religion and they just want to insert their world values. I know what goes on Qatar is, I don't agree with it, whatever. But I wouldn't go there with a pride armband and a pride tattoo on my forehead and be like, hey, look at me. You just don't do that.
Yeah, it's because obviously people want to be the hero, and it's Western culture where everyone is sort of always told you can be whoever you want, you can do whatever you want, you can be the best person that you want to be. So we're all instilled that, oh yeah, we are, like, whatever we say stands. We are the central power of the world. So then they go to these countries who have completely different ideas on how they want to run their country, which is fine. But then the West go there and they're like, well, this is how we live and we're the main power. So you lot need to bow down to us in a sense.
we have this sort of arrogance about
Arrogance, yeah.
us.
Yeah,
It's like this
arrogant,
God
yeah.
complex, like everybody has to be like us, and we have to go to
Self-entitlement.
all these countries and change everything, which is funny because the left always complain about how we, the British Empire, used to colonize everything and take it for ourselves, right? Now they want to go to different countries and make it their own and be like, yeah, our worldviews, you must have them as well. Some countries just don't want to liberalize, and they're entitled to, right? And they will change when they see fit. They don't need Westerners coming over who are only there for a month, right? Let's get like you're not even a month. England aren't even going to get that far. You'll be there, gone. Their problems shouldn't affect you 1,000 miles away. What's going on there has nothing to do with you. You'll sleep perfectly fine. And don't act like you care about those gay people, because these straight people as well, who are advocating for everything, don't even know any gay people. They've never met any. It's like the woke leftists that are all for Black Lives Matter. They haven't even let a black person in their house. They're just doing it because they want attention, because nobody else will give it to them.
Well, we not long ago, because we do a book club as well on our channel, we reviewed the book Tribe, and
Okay.
when have you read? I don't know if you've read it. Have you read?
No, I haven't read it. No.
Well, when we did the discussion about it, we found, I don't know when the book came out. I think it came out quite a few years ago, but we found in today's society, what the problem is no one's got any belongingness. No one, because religion's basically on its way out, because people don't really stay at the same job the same way they used to, like many years ago. There's no real, and obviously everyone's isolated now because we're all on Twitter. We're not going to the local pub every week and staying with the same community that we would do in the past. So people are looking for anything and everything to cling on to, and because obviously the mass media and mainstream media is pushing this woke culture, so many, well, it's obviously appealed to the left more. It just sort of just jumps on it, and they don't know, they're going, it's a bit crazy because they don't know, it's like they don't know how to handle it, and they don't know how to rein it in and actually think about what they're doing. They're just trying to do what they can to be part of something.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because you can take that sense of belongingness and put it in so many different aspects. It doesn't even have to be about woke culture. It can be about mental health, depression in men. Like when we were young, when men were younger, our sense of purpose was go to war, right? And we would feel strong about that. We'd go sacrifice our lives. Bang. Now that it's not here. We have the comfort to do anything we want. So that sense of belongingness is now in something else. Okay, I want to feel part of something. I'll change my gender tomorrow. And that's what is happening now. And then you get people who reject it, and then they're the bad ones, you know. And people are just like, we are the most connected society and the most alone at the same time. Like the most active person on Twitter is probably in their basement. They don't have any friends. They go downstairs, they don't talk to their parents. And that's what social media has done as well. They've caused conflict between family members as well. Like we said before, I don't think parents are raising their kids anymore, you know. So a boy might say, oh, I can paint my nails. He paints his nails. Dad doesn't agree with him. Conflict started. I think, and that's done, purposely done. I do think we need religion. It's funny, ever since leaving the left, I'm finding my faith more and more with God, because I don't feel like the left, their views would align with religion and what God would intend people to do. And the eradication of religion is a big thing. If you look at all of, like Qatar, they're heavily religious. You look at Eastern European countries, I think they're Eastern European, like Romania, all those, they're heavily religious. And then you look at England and America, which are now, there's nothing there. Look how we act. I'm not saying everybody should be religious, but I definitely think
I think religion definitely gives, well, it gives people a sense of community, and when people have a sense of community, it gives the people power. It gives them, because they're as a whole and they're all believe in one thing, and that's what everybody wants to sort of strive for. Whereas at the minute, everybody's like, you got one group who are believing in this stuff, you got a big group of, say, the left, all believe in sort of their own version of freedom, which is trans and all that palaver. But then you've got inside that group, you've got those guys fighting with each other as well. I was listening to Chris Williamson, and he was saying within the LGBTQ group, I fucking hate saying that, it's so long, that they are starting to class white gay men as a sort of a majority and that oppressive figure to the rest of the group, which I think is it's just insane.
Well, yeah, it's no longer church on Sunday. It's change your pronouns on Wednesday. That's what it's come to. And I think if religion was just inserted a bit more, like I saw an article the other day that I think in England, and I don't know if it was Wales or something, but Christianity, the belief in Christianity is the lowest it has ever been. Then you look at a state of our country and it's like, maybe there is a connection there. And I think if religion was as big as it was hundreds of years ago, where everybody came together, regardless of race, blah, 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 blah. Because I feel like if you have that connection with religion, it doesn't matter what pronouns you are, who you sleep with, nobody cares at that point. You're all together for the same thing. And now they've rejected that, and now they just believe in these false ideologies that aren't going to get them anywhere, and in fact are going to make their life worse.
Well, even from what Aaron just said there about the gay white male being now oppressed, because they've fought this sort of battle for so long against the norm of two genders, male, female, they're just fighting against that's saying that this is a false narrative, that the way we've lived, however long we've been around, is false. They've pushed it so hard, they're now going to eat themselves alive, because they're going to kill themselves from within, because they're now arguing with each other on which, out of all the genders that they've got, which ones are right and which ones are wrong. Gay, that's quite an old school one now. So there's better ones, there's modern ones, there's new things, exciting new pronouns now. And you lot, that's old stuff. That's like male and female. That's too old.
I will say, okay, gay people were oppressed and do still sometimes get some backlash, whatever. But I fail to agree with anybody, whether it's who you sleep with, what race you are, that you are more oppressed now than you were 50 years ago. There are so many things in people's favor now. It's impossible to feel oppressed. Like, people get hired based on their gender identity, their race. It's not how it used to be where, okay, all white people, blah, blah, blah. Everybody gets an equal chance now. So I and I will not believe people are more oppressed now. There is so much freedom, so much opportunity for everybody. And in fact, if you're not white, it's more in your favor now. That's what I feel.
There's a good point as well. Well, this is something I was discussing this yesterday with someone about being non-white, because obviously I'm non-white in England, which is, I think probably still is predominantly a white country. And I was having this conversation, the guy I was having the conversation with was non-white as well. And what we were saying was, being non-white, because technically I was born in England, but my heritage is Indian. But if I was to go to India and live there now, I wouldn't feel like I fit in, even though I've got the skin color which technically I should be able to fit in. But I won't. I would feel like such an outsider. But then being in England and then having a different skin color, yeah, I fit in more culture within the culture, but there's still that underlying fact that I've got a different skin color than what I'm meant to have here, technically. So then you feel like an outsider in that sense. So there's no belongingness. So
and people in this country they honestly don't care what race you are, right? The media makes it seem like this is still a racist country. Nobody cares. And like you just said, if you went to India now, you wouldn't fit in. It's like, I could go to Japan and speak the Japanese language, right? I can learn it fluently. To the Japanese people, I'm still not Japanese, right? And they would not accept me as well as they would if I was Japanese. But if you come to this country, it doesn't matter who you are. Everybody accepts you.
I have to kind of disagree with what you said, Cam, because I feel like I belong here. I feel like I've had that sense of belonging from peers and people around me. I've never felt like I've ever been sort of, you've had the odd racist comment here and there, but like, that's never really affected me. It's not really bothered me, but I've never felt like anybody said, "Oh, you can't be part of this group because you've got brown skin."
Yeah, I've never. I mean, I can't speak for anybody, but I've never ever seen that. Especially in school when things are more tribal, I've never seen that.
Yeah, I 100% feel like it's not a massive issue. It's issue which is being fixed, but there is still a slight underlying. I wouldn't really what.
I think that's always going to be there though.
I don't
With
think it will
certain
always be
groups.
there. I think it will narrow out because if you look at it, like what our parents were born here, but my dad's Indian. He was like the first generation of people of a different ethnicity born in this country. So we're like the second generation of people of different born in this country. So it's got easier for us than it was for my dad. So then our next generation, it'll be a bit more easy and a bit more easy, and then it will just slowly fizzle out.
No, but I think there's always going to be a certain group of people who just associate themselves with, even in Indians and any like South Asian people, they're quite racist towards white people. From what I've noticed, they're more racist to white people than white people are to brown people when I've hung around with.
So there's a book I've read by Douglas Murray. It's called War on the West, and this is a perfect example. I actually don't know if it was in this book, but it kind of reminded me of that book. People like other countries are more racist to people of color than the West. And there's so many things you could talk about with that, but and people only talk about Western things, but if you look at the history books, if you still look at places now, there is more race hate, people being affected because of their race, than the West now. Like if you went there, it would be insane. You wouldn't even recognize what goes on. So, and that's the media's fault because they play it like now racism is worse than ever, even though nobody's in slavery in the West. People have freedom to do what they want. Nobody cares about your race, but we're still being told that race is such a big thing.
Like, I lived in China for a year, and if you think the UK has racism, like, live there for a year, they're racist there.
Obviously, that's based, like, I can say I've never been to China. That's based on personal experience.
But as like I forgot what the term was. They had a Chinese word for foreign. It basically meant foreigner, and that's what they were calling it.
You know what? I actually think that was in Douglas Murray's book. That he actually put that in there. I can't remember what it.
So you always just track like a foreigner everywhere you go. Which, being in their country, I was just like, it is what it is. Like, I am a foreigner. Like, so deal with it.
Yeah,
but here,
you've got that respect where a lot of people don't have that. I know what we've been saying about Qatar as well. A lot of people in the West, if they were to go to China and be treated that way, they would.
Yeah, then they come crying back and be like, "Please let me back in. This country is amazing." It's like, have your views now. Think you're oppressed now. Go to these countries, and you will come back and appreciate everything you have here. That's the thing. And people are so ungrateful now. That's the thing.
Yeah, very ungrateful, self-entitled, and ungrateful.
Yeah, we are suffering from a massive case of self-entitlement.
It's because I think it's because we live in so much comfort, and it's so easy these days just to live your life without. You don't even have to get out of your chair. I could sit here all day, make money, get my food delivered to the house, and I don't have to leave this chair.
No, comfort is the killer of all man. I live by that.
What did you say? Sorry.
Comfort is the killer of all man.
And there's like things I have to do to make my life more difficult, like by going to the gym. I was doing a stint of cold showers in the morning. It just like makes your life a little bit more difficult because life is just way too easy now.
Well, yeah, and the easiness of life is why I feel like more people are depressed, because men don't have, especially men, don't have to go through the trials and tribulations as they used to. They have everything handed to them. They have no sense of purpose, Like you said,
that's only going to get worse when they start introducing the universal basic income, and
I have not even heard about this. I don't even.
The universal basic income is basically everyone will get paid money to live off, but you don't need to work.
When's that?
Basically, it's part of the Great Reset. What they're gearing up for is AI taking over all the job roles. So what they'll do is pay everybody a set income, or tokens, or a social credit system will come into play where the government give you this money and you go and they say you can spend it on, like, I don't know, a kilo of meat this month, and you go and buy your kilo of meat, and then that's it.
I'm ready for the asteroid, man. Hit me with that. But that's the thing. I'm already seeing stuff that makes me think this is part of it. Like, you see, like, you can't buy a certain amount of eggs, because of apparent bird flu, and there was that time when you couldn't buy a certain amount of toilet rolls. You can't buy a certain amount of this, of that. And that, to me, is just a sign of things to come. Like nobody thought, especially my grandparents. Like my grandparents will sit there and be like, "The country's finished," right? But nobody thought they'd be sat there having to ration eggs.
But
Like
that's all coming from the Great Reset. Do you know why it is that you can't buy eggs?
I think it's to do with bird flu or something.
Well, that's what they're saying it is, but farmers are saying that but let's say Asda and Morrison's and Sainsbury's, who buy the eggs from the farmers, they're not. Everything in life's going up in terms of the price. Even Asda and Sainsbury's, they're putting the price of eggs up, but they're refusing to pay the farmers more money for the eggs.
Okay.
So the farmers are saying we want more money. The big businesses are saying we're not going to give you more money. Because they want the farms to die. They literally want the farms to die.
Well,
out.
yeah, I saw in I think it was the Netherlands. They've just is it 300 farmers or something? 300.
It's crazy what's going on there.
Well, yeah, but that's just so we can all start eating plant-based stuff. Like they're getting rid of farmers' land, but then Bill Gates is buying so many acres of land.
He's the largest farmland owner in the US.
Oh yeah, and why is a guy who made Microsoft, right? That's all the average person knows him for is making Microsoft. Not even that, they just know the name. But this dude, I always say, and hey, maybe in the future this will come back and I'll look like an idiot and people will hate me. But I always say he's one of the most interesting men out there. Interesting men, I'll say that. Because this man has so much control over so many things. People don't even realize he has control, if he wanted to, over our own government. I remember during one of the lockdowns, he came to Downing Street and had a meeting with Boris Johnson. Why is the guy that is so heavily invested in the medical industry meeting with Boris Johnson and giving him orders on what to do next? And now he's buying all the farmland.
But then why is he even that invested? Why has he got such a big say in the medical industry anyway? Like, he was on the... Do you know when they were having the board meetings of all of the vaccine producers, so like Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, so on, so Moderna? He had a seat on that board.
Well, yeah, because he owns these. I think him and his wife invested heavily in something.
They were invested in all of them, apart from Johnson & Johnson, I think.
Yeah, when his foundation invested a lot in, initially started off investing in malaria cures, and then obviously he's gone into like the pandemic realm. It makes zero sense how he was like an advisor for governments during a pandemic, and all I really know him for, and like you said before, most people know him for, is just creating Microsoft. How does that give someone, just because he's got money, doesn't give him the right to advise governments on a pandemic?
He's a billionaire.
Yeah.
If I was a billionaire, I guarantee you I get a nice little letter in the post saying, "Would you like to invest in our charity? Would you like to help with this? Would you like to help with that?"
But is he second?
That's just how
it looks like he's like second in command at the WEF, the way he rolls with Klaus Schwab.
I mean, who even knows who's in charge of that mafia group, man? Like, who really knows?
Whoever's in charge of it, I don't think we'll ever know who's actually...
It's probably above. It's definitely above Klaus.
Yeah.
He's just a front man.
Oh, I just think that's just a group of people taking orders from somebody else. That's what I think.
Someone that doesn't want to be seen, and with the amount of power that these guys have, they can quite easily not be seen.
A higher being.
And there are so many billionaire entities, billionaire families that people don't even know about that are in control. And that's just
one thing I've noticed, and I know we've all looked into conspiracies like way back in the day when we was all in high school. But do you remember listening to about the conspiracy about the Rothschild family? They don't seem to be spoken about much anymore when anyone's... Hello? All right, you still there? Yeah, they don't really seem to be spoken about as much anymore. And it's something I'm going to have a deeper look into, because I believe they have a significant amount of wealth, but you just don't hear anything about them.
They're the family who have had the most... So the most wealthiest family, like generational, right? So
Yeah,
Usually,
it's been generational wealth passed down.
yeah, it's
from-
passed down for the longest amount of time of any
Yeah.
family. Mm.
Mm. You should research John D. Rockefeller.
Rockefeller.
John D. Rockefeller. The amount of power and influence this man has had on the medical industry, I believe, many things. You know, and we don't even hear about these people, and these are the true, I think anyway, people in control. But then you always think, is there somebody above them?
Should we lead back in with Balenciaga?
Yeah, we will if Zoom wants to cooperate. You know what it is? It's the Matrix is attacking. I'm using Andrew Tate's words. The Matrix is attacking. Somebody has seen this and they don't want to go. There's somebody at Zoom watching.
He's gonna get killed, Andrew Tate.
He's already said.
Well, he's man. Yeah, but like if you speak it into existence, it will happen. If I sit here and say I'm gonna get killed, more gonna happen. If I keep saying it, it will happen. And I kind of think he wants it to happen at this point. I don't know.
Like
because
Tupac and Biggie always used to rap about being killed.
Mm.
And they both died.
Yeah, and they did.
It's like Andrew Tate loves the theme that much that if it would be such a big thing, like if he got killed, that he, even though he'd be dead, he would still thrive off that.
Well, he said in multiple videos that they're going to kill me. And everybody knows who he's on about. So if he does eventually get killed, he'll look like the biggest martyr of all time.
He'll go down in history.
I don't think it. Yeah, but then they'll just erase the history like they always do, and then you won't hear about it again. So what's the point in dying? Yeah. Like they don't even talk about. They give one day to Martin Luther King and all those people. Don't talk about them ever, apart from one day. That's it. You know, will we get an Andrew Tate day? No.
If he dies, maybe.
I'll make an Andrew Tate day.
Oh, well, I think you'll be on your own with just a cupcake and a candle. You know. But yeah, we can talk about the Balenciaga thing if you want, because you know that's a massive rabbit hole.
I've only really been looking into it today, and it's spiraling in like so many different avenues. But what are your thoughts on it?
It's very interesting. Like you can start in many places, I think. For me, it's just crazy how they went ahead and did that. You know, that they have the audacity to do something like that. Everybody can see, like you can just look in the background as well. And it's just not the kids themselves. There's many other things in there.
Is that there's a picture of a handbag with the document of a bill that was filed in America about, was it about child pornography? Is that right?
I don't know, because like I feel like if I get down that rabbit hole, I'm not coming back out, you know.
Yeah.
I think it was about, yeah.
It's fucking dark.
Well, I was watching someone talk about it today, and someone that used to work for Balenciaga doing all of the media creation stuff, well, involved in all of the marketing side of it, I guess, left maybe a few months or a year or so ago. But then someone started looking into her, who left a while ago, and found all of this satanic stuff all over social media pages, and like kids dressed in like provocative clothing and just teddy bears tied up in like satanic ritual layouts and stuff like that.
Have you seen her? What she looks like?
No, I've not seen the person. What's her name?
Is it? I
can't remember her name, but she looks.
Is that lady that's dressed in red?
Yeah, that
was. I've seen.
She looks fucked up.
I'll try and find it now.
I just find it very interesting how Kanye cut ties beforehand.
I find that there's more to it than a coincidence.
He knows, like he acts dumb, but he knows what's going on. And then for Balenciaga to do an apology on their Instagram stories,
it's weird. And well, if Kanye cut ties with them for whatever reason, Kim Kardashian is so closely connected to them. He's obviously connected to Kim Kardashian. He's obviously cut ties with Kim Kardashian since.
Well, as well, before you say your point, he was saying before, I think when they initially got divorced, that he doesn't like that his children are being used as like being sexualized at this age. and he feels like them being on TikTok and sort of being given all this fame at such a young age, he's not happy with it. But the media didn't, no one said this. Like, he was saying it, but the media didn't tell the public any of this stuff.
Well,
Which I just think,
I mean, I
like,
don't know if you've seen Kim Kardashian's response to it all.
yeah,
Like,
just
have
that
you seen her
bullshit tweet that she made. A couple of tweets.
Like, you're a mother for a start. Imagine if she took her kids to that photo shoot, she came back, saw the pictures. Would you not be I would. I'm telling
Yeah.
you. I would not be happy. You know.
And the thing is,
I don't think that's right. And
she's a billionaire as well, so she doesn't even need the money from Balenciaga to still have ties with them. She could be like, "Oh, listen, this is fucked up. Like, I'm a mother. I've got 4 kids. Like, that's it. I'm done."
whoa. Yeah, I've seen this picture.
So she's an ex-designer. She doesn't work there anymore, right?
Is that since this?
I'm not sure. I just remember seeing the picture of her and I was like,
I mean, she does look like if you invited her to church, she'd just burn right there. I'm not gonna lie, like.
she looks like she sacrifices babies.
For Balenciaga and Adidas. Wait, is Adidas and Balenciaga a joint company?
No, but I think they've done a recent link up.
Wouldn't surprise me at this point.
This is all very suspicious with Kanye's recent movements.
It is, and that's why I think the man knows a lot more than he lets on. But I'm just more concerned about Balenciaga's response to the public reaction to it. Because again, they've apologized, and people are like, you know what, I'll still go to that store tomorrow, buy their shoes. Who cares? You know, and the media aren't talking about it. That's the interesting thing.
It's not on mainstream media at all.
No, it's just social media. It's getting big on them. That's it.
If it involved something misogynistic, systemic racism, a rainbow, everybody would be talking about it. You know, you see celebrities saying, "Oh, this is so wrong." What? These are kids.
It's so messed up. Like, it's beyond messed up. I think towards the start of when we started the podcast, there was something, I want to say Disney Plus, but it might not have been. One of the streaming services, US one, they released a show which is children dressing up in drag. The children are like under 12 or under 11 or something.
I have no idea, but
drag.
It doesn't surprise me at this point.
So fucked up.
But again, that's like normalized thing now. Like,
how can anything like to do with sexualizing children be normalized these days? It's fucking weird.
I mean, I have a theory on it, and it goes for anything. You try to normalize something, and you push it down people's throats to the point where they have no other choice but to accept it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like's going on with this situation.
Like, if you keep doing it, nobody's like, you get the initial backlash and people are upset, but if you keep going, people in the end give up and they move on to something else. Yeah, there'll be another injustice in the world, and people are like, put that to the side, we'll move on to that. And then it just gets put out into the norm. And these people show their hand because they've shown everybody what they're into. Like, you don't have to be a conspiracy theorist to see. You can tell what they're into. They've shown their hand. It's like the amount of subliminal messages in the back, that's like, it's not coincidence. It's not, oh, we just accidentally put that court document there. We accidentally put that, I don't know, whatever else was there. I haven't even looked at all of them. I stopped at the main two. Because I'm bored of
what they're saying. Is it a brand as high caliber as Balenciaga? They don't just quickly take a photo and publish it.
Yeah, every little bit of the photo's been thought about and planned.
That's what I mean. Even your regular adverts you see, they are so meticulously thought out. And then for Balenciaga to come out and say, "Oh, we're going to sue these people," who are you suing?
I don't understand that. That's what I can't understand. What's going on with who they're suing?
you're gonna sue the marketing team or the photographers that allowed this.
They're on
These
team.
photographers don't go there and think, "Oh, I'm gonna do this." In my opinion, they're given a brief to follow, right? And you go ahead and you do that, and then you send it. So somebody that gets me the most, they've sat in this boardroom, 10, 15, 20 people, and the words of, "Oh, let's do this with kids," has come out of somebody's mouth. And the rest of the 19, 14 people have said, "Yeah, you know what, mate, that's a great idea." If I was in that boardroom, I would, Royal
And
Rumble, I'm telling you.
who are these kids' parents as well?
That's what I mean. That's what I was saying before it cut out. Imagine being that kid's parent, right? Your kid's just got a modeling job, right? And I don't think kids should be modeling anyway. And you leave them there, you go get a sandwich or something. Oh yeah, my kid's fine. You come back and you see that.
Why would you accept? Obviously, they're going to get a lot of money from it, and money talks. But there's a lot. Surely there's a line.
Well,
Pimping
no,
your child out.
Money-
Literally.
money talks, bullshit walks.
Yeah,
That's what I say.
literally.
You know, and maybe the parents of those children knew what the photo shoot was going to be about, which means they're even more so in the wrong.
Or maybe there's a circle, and
Maybe they're the kids of people in
yeah, people that are part of this. What seems like some sort of cult.
Satanic cult.
Because it's nice for Kim Kardashian to come out and say blah 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 blah. No one cares. Like, you know. But if that was your children, would you still feel the same? No.
She's probably part of the cult as well. Kim K.
I don't think these people are part of anything. I think they're just used by people in positions to put a message out there.
They're manipulated themselves.
Yeah, and then they manipulate other people. You know, I don't think, you know, you could talk about like being in these cults or whatever. I don't think these celebrities are in them. I just think they get told to say certain things, do certain things by somebody else, and they don't know any different. They're just doing it because, oh, money's involved.
Yeah, this is what fame is. This is how famous people act. This is what famous people do.
Yeah, they don't. A lot of famous people are stupid. No, they don't know what they're doing. You know, they get told by their manager, "Oh, you've got this thing to do, blah blah blah. You got to push this out," and they're like, "Yeah, I'm getting paid £300,000 on Instagram posts. Who cares?"
Yeah, they're just a product.
Yeah, and I have nothing against them earning that money. Like, well done to you. It's just the morals and the dignity of a said person to then not speak out or even cut ties is where I have the issue. You know, like, earn as much money as you want from Balenciaga. I would earn money from it. If they came to me and said, "Yeah, we got a contract," I'd be like, before this happened anyway, I'd be like, "Yeah, okay." But if I was Kim Kardashian, I'd be like, "I'm out. See you later." You know.
Well, that's with Kanye. He's like, I think Aaron said it earlier, that he's found out something which he probably shouldn't have known. And
Did you see Kanye West on Tim Pool?
I've heard about it, but I'm not really paying attention to all of this. Like, you know.
Yeah, it was weird. I don't know why he acted that way. He was on the podcast for 20, I think it was 26 minutes.
And he walked out or something.
Yeah, walked out because Tim didn't want him spouting about, you know, when he talked about the Jewish media and all that shit. He didn't want him talking about it in the podcast. Or he said, we'll talk about it at the end, but I want to speak about like Balenciaga, and because I wanted to hear his views on Balenciaga. But he never got to that. He just started talking about the Jewish
I
media.
haven't seen too much on that. I mean, I don't know why he's getting involved in politics. Like, nobody, like, you've been painted, like, I don't think he does have mental health issues, but you've been painted as somebody that will cry on stage. Nobody's going to vote for you, brother. Like, they'd rather vote for you, either of us, than him at this point, you know?
I couldn't see Kanye West as a president. Imagine him sat in a room with Xi Jinping.
Well, that's what I mean. And, you know, maybe UK politics needs that, because if they did, I tell you now, I'd be putting my name in that hat, you know? But that's what I mean. Like, it's just a massive distraction again, because everybody knows he's not going to get in. You're not Trump. You don't have billions and billions and billions of money, you know? And it's always the richest party that wins in the end. So, who do you think is going to win like, do you think Biden will stay in again?
no,
You don't think?
I don't think so. He's too is people of real a lot, like, even people who aren't into politics the way, so because there's a large amount of people aren't actually into politics and they still vote for who do you think? A lot of them, that sort of group of people, are realizing there's something a bit
Well, I think
dodgy about Biden.
if he goes up against Trump, then I don't think. I think those people who aren't into politics will still vote Biden over Trump.
Over
Well,
Trump.
yeah, that's what I mean, because
The media killed Trump.
they read a headline and they just spin with it. You know, they'll spin with it, they run with it.
It's like one of the most fucked up things about politics is you're not choosing who's good for the country, you're choosing who's not bad for the country. So you're not choosing who's worse.
I'll go a step further. You're choosing who the media want you to choose.
Yeah, it's manipulated like that big time.
I remember when it was the election between Boris Johnson and what's his name, Jeremy Corbyn, right? Every single newspaper made it seem like he was a nutcase. Why is anyone going to vote for him? You know? And then everybody voted for Boris Johnson. I don't think Joe Biden will get in again. I think it will be another Democrat. Because
Do you think he'll step down then?
I think there'll be another Democrat that will run and they might win because Republicans don't uphold or don't protect all the stuff going on now. And there's so many people that are part of it. Why would you want to lose it? And I think I saw a stat that most young people in America voted Democrats during the midterms. And that's for one reason, you know? But if you let Republicans take control, you're not going to have all this control. You'll lose control over your transgender rights, your non-binary rights, or whatever they are these days, you know? That's what I think, anyway. I don't think... Maybe not this election, the next one, Republicans will get in. That's what I think.
It seems like the West anyway is set up now, so everything it can already sort of be controlled just because of the way, like you said, the media's run, just because of the way they've caused this divide. It's just so... Because we're not one big group, we're just divided. Now it's becoming subdivisions within the divide. Everything's just a mess. No one really knows what the fuck's going on, really.
I mean, I think it's always been like this. It's just social media has heightened that issue. Like before phones, it was just newspapers and radio. You know, you'd read and listen to that and you'd believe everything.
I think social media and the fact people aren't going out and spending more time with the community, so they're not having those discussions in the pub or at local clubs or things like that anymore, where your opinion can be swayed. Now people are just reading stuff on Twitter that they already agree with, and it's just sort of like an echo chamber, and just everything they're reading is making their opinion of that stronger, and they're not reading anything that's opposing that opinion.
Well, yeah, and that's because people are scared to talk to people these days. They can't even look at people in the eyes these days. I got a test for both of you, right? After this podcast tomorrow, when you go for a walk, wherever it is, look at somebody in the eyes and look. I do it all the time just for fun. Everybody's just like that. People can't talk to each other. You know, everybody's just walking on their phone or they're in their own heads. Before everybody would come together and, they'd build a community. Now, I don't know anyone that lives around me, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true that people don't talk anymore.
No, because I used to live up north, and then when I moved down here, do you know when you walk past people on the street, when I was up north, you say morning or hi, you're right or something. I see it down here in London, and people look at me like, why is this guy talking to me?
Yeah, people in London are depressed, man. I used to have the dream of living there. Now I'm I want to stay as far away as I can from there.
Yeah, I want to get out of here as soon as.
Yeah, but I don't want to wear a watch in London. I don't want to get stabbed by someone that wasn't even born in our country.
That's crazy, the amount of robberies that are going on.
Did you, talking about people not being born in this country, but did you see what happened with the Albanian Independence Day in London?
I saw videos of the streets being full of Albanian flags and stuff like that.
They literally shut down central London, drove all the cars in central London, just going fucking nuts.
I'm all for people celebrating whatever they believe in, you know, but if it was the other way around and there was English flags everywhere, people would be calling it a very different thing.
Yeah.
They'd be like, oh, look, it's white supremacy.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion before, haven't we? How the St. George's flag sort of, it's got like such a bad perception. When people see it, they automatically think EDL or racist or football hooligan.
That's what they've done. And it's the same with the American flag as well. They've completely tarnished the value in that. It's like, talk about Qatar again, the US football team rebranded the stripes in their training facilities or whatever with the rainbow thing. That's your own flag. And now if you have the pride flag hanging up on your street, that's more politically correct than United Kingdom flag.
Yeah, that's true, actually, because if you had an England flag up, then you'll be seen as, oh, he's probably racist because he's proud of the country. Whereas if you had a pride flag up, supposedly you meant to think, oh, they're really accepting of everyone.
And I don't think that's coincidence. You know, these things just don't happen coincidentally. I think it's all purposely done, and that's how you get your way in this world. You get rid of everything, and then you insert your own values.
And that's what the 1984 book is basically saying. Just delete and
reinstall. It's literally like deleting an old program, reinstalling the new one. But the new one,
after a generation, it will be forgotten about, or no one will
yeah, I mean, when we're gone, there'll be something else. You know, it's just never ending. The only good thing is, how's the mic quality, by the way? Is it okay?
Yeah, perfect.
The only good thing is tyranny doesn't last. Like, these things don't last. You go back in time in history, all of them have failed. And something else takes its place. Only this time, they've got a grip on everything. But soon enough, everything fails. People get tired. And that's what you're seeing with Twitter as well. People being happy. It seems like there's a revolution going on, but I don't think there is, really. Because I'm the sort of guy that likes revolution, where I see people protest, and that's my revolution, not people just sending tweets out, you know, saying different things. That's not a revolution. But I do think maybe freedom of speech is getting, you know, a bit more respect, you know. But I don't think it's ever going back to what people want it to go back to. Never.
Yeah, it's beyond the point of return back to, what, 10, 15 years ago.
The only way...
Go on, Josh, what were you going to say?
I say the only way it goes back to how people want it to go back, when a big event happens, like, you know, something to do with the weather, tornadoes, asteroid or something. That's only when things go back, because then you get rid of, sounds bad, but you get rid of a lot of things, people, blah, 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 and then you can start your own thing again.
Yeah, it's because they say the last time, well, America was actually united was right after 9/11. That's the time they were at the most togetherness. But
then how long does that even last? You know?
Because like you were saying earlier, something else will just come up. That will get forgotten about. If that was to happen now, it wouldn't even last as long as it lasted back in that day.
People have goldfish syndrome. But what's funny about that, you mentioned that what happened, right? If that happened today, you would find people on the left being like, oh, you're treating these people so unfairly. You know, you can't say that about them on Twitter.
Sticking up for them.
Yeah. You know.
And you would actually get, in a sense, that's an extremist from the left, because you would get a few people who would be sticking up for him on the extreme left.
I don't know if you've seen Candace Owens' documentary.
No, I've not seen it yet. I think we talked about
left. Well, yeah, so I watched it yesterday when I was editing a video or something, and the extreme lengths the extreme left go to, oh my gosh. Like, I'm not even joking. I highly recommend you go watch it. You think it's bad? Wait until you watch that documentary. It's insane, absolutely insane what happened.
Yeah, I've seen it. The trailer come up quite a few times, but I need to watch it because it's Daily Wire, right? So it's the same people who made.
So is this about George Floyd? The documentary? Yeah.
It's about. Is it about where they spent the money, the BLM money?
And the narrative behind his whole death and how it's been misconstrued to be something it wasn't. You know, I mean, yeah, somebody died and nobody deserves to die.
Is it true he was high on opioids at the time of his death?
I don't know how much I can say about it without something bad happening, but yes. Yeah, there are rumors that the level of drugs he had in them was way above the fatal level. So he would have died anyway.
Oh,
So it doesn't matter, even if he did die when he was getting arrested, he would have died regardless. And everybody's seen the pictures of him on the floor. He asked to be put on the floor. He told the police officers, put me on the floor. And he was saying he couldn't breathe way before.
oh, so he was tripping out off the drugs.
Yeah, they even asked him when they had him on the side of the road, like, are you high on something? You're a bit erratic, right? And before the classic line saying, I can't breathe, blah, 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 and that was everywhere on all the t-shirts, right? And this is a shock to me because I remember when it happened, I was like, like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. Like, and yeah, it is. It's a terrible thing that this happened and it shouldn't happen. But the media spun it in such a way that even though he was saying, I can't breathe on the floor, he was saying it when he was standing up, I can't breathe, put me on the floor, blah, 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 blah. And from a certain angle, it looks like the knee was on the neck. And then from another angle, it looked like it was on his shoulder blade. And then the part where he was calling out for his mum, he was saying, I want my mama, blah, blah. That's what he called his girlfriend, mama. And then, like, she interviewed the people that used to live with him. The family of George Floyd haven't even gone back to that house. They haven't gone back for his stuff. They haven't seen how they're doing. They haven't even met his child. Nothing.
Who haven't?
The roommates of George Floyd, because he didn't live with the rest of his family. He lived
Oh,
with
right, okay.
two other roommates. So that family haven't even gone to that house.
To collect his stuff or anything.
Nothing. That's insane. And then, like, you look at where the money was spent. Like, you could probably imagine they spend it on houses or whatever, but it goes so much deeper you don't even understand. It's insane.
Oh, right. It leads into mad corruption?
Yeah, so like there's one part where one of the organizations that they donated money to was actually training people to be activists, training them how to protest. And there was like, she was coming to the conclusion that those people that they were training then sent them to these different protests to act how they've been trained or whatever. And if you look at the place now where like, I think, is it Portland? I'm not too sure where it is. Anything goes there. It's literally like purge. Like
Yeah, I've heard about Portland.
You walk in there, you get shot. Nothing, like the police don't even do anything. It's like
Really?
its
Yeah,
own
is it just free for all there?
free for all. It's like their own state. Like if I joined the police now, walked into that place, there's a high chance of me getting shot. That's how insane it is.
The police can't even go in there. Or
No,
get
and
anyone to go in there.
during the whole riots as well, there was a school bus that was treating people for gunshot wounds. Like they just had a bus in there just treating people gunshot wounds. That's how insane it is over there. And the media don't tell anybody. You have to watch a documentary on another website to even see it. Because if she uploaded that onto YouTube,
Oh yeah, because even when Daily Wire put it wasn't even What Is a Woman. I think it was just a trailer or the premiere on YouTube. Something happened where they blocked the amount of reach it got.
wow, I didn't even know that. Like I've only been in this space, like the YouTube space anyway, for like the last 2 months, a couple months. I didn't even know that. But that's another documentary. Like you guys told me to watch it. I watched it. The fact he didn't even have to do anything. He just sat there and they did their own thing. And you just look at them like, this is crazy. So I did my own research on like what happens in this country. We had our own gender clinic for kids, and I think that's being shut down next year. I think it's called the Tavistock Clinic or something. There's a lady, I don't know, I think she was a doctor there. She was helping kids as young as 3 with gender dysphoria. 3. When a kid's 3, doesn't even know his name. And the thing is, people think it's being shut down because of all the background. It's not. That's not why it's being shut down. It's being shut down so they can close it and then open more so people don't have to wait as long. But they're going to set up regional clinics for people.
Well, in America, I don't know if this was covered in What is a Woman or it might have been something else, but in America, you can, if you're in school, you can tell school I need to have a gender change.
Yeah, and
They would not tell the parents. They would say, "Okay, we'll keep it," and then they'll in school time they would send them to the hospital or wherever you go. To
That's disgusting.
I've seen a TikTok of many like I don't know if you follow libs of TikTok at all on Twitter.
No,
There are so
I know
many
who they are now.
so many teachers who are saying we have this relationship with our students that the parents don't have. Like they tell them you can have all these pronouns, but don't tell your parents. Don't tell your parents. So that kid's going to go home, and the conflict between the child and the parent, and it's not even like it's not coincidence. It's so purposely done as well, because not only that, they want both the mother and the father out of the household. They want to destroy the family unit, because once you get rid of that, you can do what and say what you want.
Well, it's 1984, right? Where the kids believe in, I forgot, Big Brother.
Yeah, when they snitch on their own parents.
Yeah,
as
when they
well.
snitch on their own parents, yeah.
Yeah. It's like what scared me the most about that What is a Woman documentary is the guy from Canada, if you remember that part. Where he
Was it the guy who had to change, but he was not happy with it?
No, so it's a father in Canada who is I think he's having his court date now or
Oh
something
shit,
like
he
that.
got fined, didn't he?
Yeah, because he misgendered his own daughter, so he got arrested.
Yeah.
I'm gonna purposely do that, see what happens to me, you know that. Like it's insane what's happening, and like the suppression of people and what you can and can't say is just it's actually out of hand, and people don't realize it until it affects them. Then they're like, oh, something needs to change.
Well, this is Jordan Peterson, I think in 2017, said he's not using these pronouns, and that's it. He's not using them. And there's so much backlash against him, but he said, if I start using these pronouns now because I have to use them, then it's going to be like get 10 times worse. If people are having to do things, like are forced to do things that they don't want to do or they don't believe in, then in 5-10 years time it's going to be 10 times worse. I've already seen it now.
That's what a lot of people don't understand. It's not we have a problem with the saying the pronouns, or there's not a problem with whatever you're doing. It's the problem that you're forcing us to change language. We can't change language.
Yeah, it's the force of language change which is pissing people off, or pissing us off, more than accepting the change.
It's not about, but the problem is with the pronouns and people saying I don't want to say the pronouns. They're taking offense to it as an individual, saying you're offending me because you're not giving me the respect. It's not that. It's you're trying to change language. You don't fucking change language. You don't restrict our language.
Well, yeah, but that's what they want to do. They want to change apps. There is not one thing that isn't being targeted, right? I can't think of one thing that hasn't been affected by it. Religion, music, films, social media.
Yeah, films are absolutely, they've been just destroyed. You can't even enjoy a film anymore.
Newspaper, everything. Like, even books now. I go into Waterstones. Trust me, you don't even understand the facial expressions I make.
I went into Waterstones about 2 months ago, and I've got loads of books on my Goodreads list. A lot of them are controversial books, to be honest. But I thought, do you know what? I'm going to go around and see how many of the books that are on my Goodreads list are in this store. And I did find one. There wasn't one.
I look at the shelf, right, and it's literally how to be anti-white. I literally looked at a shelf and all of it was against white people. Now, I don't care. Whatever. People can read what they want. I just say, flip it. That place will get burned down instantly.
Yeah.
I can smell the smoke now.
Hmm.
You know?
To be fair, I was surprised there was a Douglas Murray book in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was when I was looking through it. I think that was the only book I found in there was a Douglas Murray one.
Yeah, I read that book and it put me in such a bad mood for a long time because I just read how much is being affected by it. Like it's just you don't understand what happens and what gets changed in our country because it's not put in the news at all. So it's just, but again, this is what the world wants, and you have to accept it until enough people find the balls to protest against it.
Well, that's the thing. That's a good thing. Like with your YouTube channel, with our YouTube channel, we're trying to spread awareness, get other people to actually understand what's going on, and just show them like. 2 years ago, I wouldn't have thought I'd be doing a YouTube channel. I would have thought I won't be able to do a YouTube channel, but we're sort of setting an example out there to say if you have woken up and understand what's going on, it's not hard really just to jump on a camera and have a conversation.
And the good thing is people will find what you're doing as a massive risk. Like they'll think, oh, look at this guy, he's taking such a risk, right? And yeah, you are. Like for making content, like talking about how you feel about the world, it's an uphill battle. Like as you saw, you search my channel. Apparently, I don't even show up unless you make a new account. Boom. I don't know why that happens. Honestly, I don't. So, if you just sat there and just made gaming videos or toy reviews, they'd be like, yeah, go ahead, But I think soon these companies will learn because, they're all losing money. YouTube, Google losing money. Facebook just laid off 10,000 or so people. Twitter's under new ownership. How long that will last, I don't know. But
so I remember on our sort of catch-up call, you said you've got different views on Elon Musk.
I did, not anymore.
Okay.
They changed. I'll be honest, when he first bought it, I thought he was, because there's always this biblical theory of somebody being looked at as Jesus Christ, but really he's the opposite, and everybody follows him. And yeah, so I thought, he's part of it, and he was going to buy it under the name of freedom of speech, and it was actually going to get worse, But unless he's playing a good act, which, I don't think you can play an act for that long without something being shown, without you slipping up. The fact that he wants to target child exploitation as well, big win for me. I think it's one of the biggest things.
Yeah, you've got to remember as well with Elon, he's so fucking famous. Imagine the amount of people that are trying to dig up dirt on him, and for them, I think when me and Aaron were discussing it once, we only came to the conclusion that the only dirt they've ever found from him was something about a massage that he got off a woman he worked with.
I mean, there are many things that they try and do, like they try and bring up like his workplaces are racist, blah blah blah, blah all of
but
that.
There's nothing solid that sticks, and you will know thousands of people will be trying to dig up dirt on him, and if they're coming back blank, then
well, yeah. Now I see the way the media target him. If he was part of the plan, I don't think they would target him as much, because they always pick and choose who they target. And unless you look at Fox News and stuff like that, the other side, how they're painting him is like literally like he's the most evil man on the planet just because he wants people to have an opinion.
Unless he's a decoy and they're not going to put anything about him out there and just sort of target him in a way that makes everyone trust him.
Well, my natural instinct with anything is when everybody's focused on one thing, I want to look at something else and say, oh, okay, what's going on over there? Because there's always something else. And there's nothing big right now happening. Like, it's all the same stuff. There's nothing like brewing anywhere. So I don't think, even, I don't know, man. It's so confusing because who do you trust these days? Are you going to trust a billionaire?
Yeah. That's not my thinking. He's a billionaire, so how much can you actually trust him? But as well, what if he's a good billionaire and he's that beacon of light?
Well, that's the thing. If you read about electric cars and how that could be part of things in the future, like, I don't know, I think the next thing that's going to be is a climate thing. They're going to give you a carbon footprint monitor. They're going to measure how much stuff you spent and how much you use.
Your ESG rating.
Yeah, and electric cars are being pushed. By 2030, you won't even be allowed to buy whatever. I don't even know the difference, but they'll be the norm. And if they can affect those, like shut them down if you use too much, like, oh, you've done this too much today, you've used too much energy, how dare you? Car turn off. Boom.
That's what they're doing. They're playing the energy card to gain further control. They can't control a petrol fueled engine. They can control an electric piece of software that you drive around.
That's the thing. Like we could all be totally wrong, and these people may just be doing what they think is best. You know, maybe they do have good intentions in their heart. But I fail to believe nobody around them. Like I said this last time, there has to be somebody around these people saying what you're doing is wrong. And unless these people get offed, don't be surprised if we do. You know, or they're just silenced. I don't know, because if I was in these positions, I would be sat there saying like, what you're doing is like, don't do this. So unless they're all part of it, which I just feel like you're human at the end of the day, and we're biologically wired to want fairness in every way. Like I don't know if you've heard of the monkey experiment between when one gets grapes and one gets bananas.
No.
So the monkey that's get bananas is fine, and the monkey that gets grapes goes erratic because he wants the banana, right? So we all want fairness, and I just fail to understand that there's nobody there saying this isn't fair, unless you get into those positions being completely corrupt to the core. Then that's how I don't know. Like
I think to get in a position where you have some level of say, I think you
maybe
have to be pretty corrupt to get there.
yeah, but even then, I just feel like there's got to be something in your head that goes, maybe we shouldn't lock down people for the 5th time. Maybe that's a bit extreme. Maybe we shouldn't force people to get a certain thing. You know, maybe that's a bit extreme. But no, nobody
Well, I
seems
don't
to.
know if it's even possible for them to think, because they're so power filled and their heads just must be so just work so much different to how your average person's head would work. We're the ones being impacted, so we're the ones who are seeing it for sort of. I mean, we can sort of feel sorry for people and have that emotion because we're sort of towards the bottom of the pecking order when it comes to sort of the hierarchy of elites. So it's easier for us to feel bad on someone that's homeless because we think actually we're not we aren't that far apart. Like it's within our reach to become homeless. It's possible.
How it might be like another way of looking at it is, from our perspective, we're buying sort of laptops and phones that are made using cheap, almost slave labor in China. And we're still doing that. And it's not really, we know it's going on, but we put it to the back of our heads. It's fine. These guys are on another level up and they're saying, oh, these people are unhappy. They're just going to be like oppressed, blah, blah. But it doesn't matter because I'm eating the steak tonight whilst they're going to be eating fucking plant-based burgers or whatever shit they want to give us.
Oh yeah, I mean, not all of them, but a lot of them just view humans as cattle. You know, they rear you, they raise you, and then they kill you for their own gain. You know, and that's how the world's always been. Like it just gets heightened during these times as well because people feel more oppressed. But even during your grandfather's time, it's always been like that. That's how the world's always been. There's always been a power difference. There's always been people who are powerful and people who aren't. And the world needs that. I don't think everybody should be given the same level of power. Because then, you know, it's like if everybody has a Lamborghini, you don't want one. You want something else. And that has to always be there. It's just Western people, especially, are like it would go back to the entitlement thing. Are more entitled than other people. Like they need more and more and more and more and more. They're never happy, you know. Like
What I'm like more, it's not the material stuff. I believe like if you want to work hard for it, you can get it, like whatever you want. But what I don't like being taken away from me is my freedom to do the things I want to do.
yeah, but then like someone's got to do something about it sometime. There's got to be somebody that just says enough is enough. Let's do something. You know, it can't keep going the same way because otherwise things are going to get really bad. Like, you know, the one thing I'm worried about is sending my kids to school in the future. Like I see so many things and they're just adverts for homeschooling to me. Like, why would I want to send my kids to these schools that are telling them to do this, do that, which are completely different to how we see the world now? Like, we don't even know what goes on in schools these days.
Oh, it's like you said, they're just trying to break the families apart.
And you know, I don't know why. I honestly don't know why. I don't know why these people are just so intent on just destroying everything and everybody. Like I said this in a video. Why do you need to control everything? Like, why do you need to control Twitter? You've already won. Like, here's the trophy. I'll give it to you. You know, you've won because you could put something in the news tomorrow. Everybody's believing it, but you're scared of people just sending a few tweets saying, "Oh, this isn't real." Blah blah blah. Are you that insecure?
It's like you said though, they want more, they want more, they want more, and they've got all the money. They have all the money. Money doesn't actually mean anything to them anymore.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can only be so rich, and then you can buy everything. Nothing means anything. It's just the
And they
power.
can buy everything probably 100 times over now because the amount of just fucking cash that's literally.
That's when power becomes the motivation, though.
But then I know for a fact people are genuinely scared of these conversations. They're scared. It scares them. You know, like there are people that have worked so hard to make sure people don't have their own thoughts and opinions.
Well, and that's why there's such a fear. Well, like we said before about other people stepping up and talking on a YouTube channel. It's the society's in a way now where people at the bottom of the hierarchy are shit scared of talking because they think if I say something, I'm not going to be able to progress up the hierarchy. Because, for example, I had a conversation with Aaron whilst I was doing Alt-ernative and said, this is probably going to affect us if we ever wanted to go and apply for a job in a corporate setting. They're going to probably come across this and be like, "Whoa."
Well, luckily your names aren't attached to it. That's the good thing. You know, they'd have to go out of their way to search the podcast, wouldn't they?
Yeah, well, our names are on the website, but
oh, okay. Well, maybe you might be fine.
Yeah, but we can just anything that's out there can just be deleted anyway. But
well, yeah, it's like I saw an article today that 91 homes have, or 91 people altogether, like their households have been investigated because of things they said online.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it was Disclosed TV. I don't know if you follow them on Twitter. They put out a thing like 91 houses have been investigated for things they've said on Twitter.
In the UK?
Nah, Germany.
Or Germany?
It's like, have they not learned from the past? But no, they just blindly follow, blindly. You know, it's crazy to say, but like, if this was like during World War II times, everyone would be Nazis because you just believe what the media say. Look how people were demonized for not having the shot, right? You look at for what? The man just didn't want a shot. Who cares? And I actually put on my story, right, my like private one for my people that know me in real life. It's like 1943. I think that was when the World War was, whatever. I had so many people unfollow me or message me like, how dare you say that? It's not like that those times. It's like, you don't know because you're not in other countries. People are literally segregated because of their medical status. You know?
Yeah. Well, in Australia during the past 2 years, they got where they got put in like separate camps away from everybody.
Well, I mean, I even saw videos in Australia of police looking in people's coffee cups just to make sure they actually had coffee, so they had a reason to be out.
Do you watch what's it called? Rebel News.
No, I don't. No.
All right, it's this guy. I think it's an Australian YouTube channel. Well, one of the presenters is from Australia, and he was going around all the lockdowns, all the protests during the lockdowns, and just interviewing people. And the amount of times he got jumped by police was fucking insane.
Yeah, and now they would just want everybody to forget, like, oh, nothing happened. Nothing happened. That's what I mean. It's like we go back to China. They're still living like this thing's just broken out and it's I Am Legend situation. We're living like nothing happened.
Yeah, like it's been wiped. It's like Matt Hancock's in the celebrity jungle. It's literally they just try to wipe it from my memory.
He finished third place.
You know what?
Yeah, I saw that.
You know what?
Fucking joke.
These people that have voted for Matt Hancock are the same people that will be proud of 8 booster shots.
Yeah.
Like, bro, nobody cares for, first of all, like how many shots you have. Like, you're an idiot. Second thing, if you actually vote for, That's
I
how
don't understand it. I cannot get my head around it.
that's how easily manipulated the people of this country are.
It's
Easily.
COVID's completely forgotten about if he's come third place in this fucking shit show.
Well, yeah, I purposely looked at people's replies when people are like, "Oh, he did this," like so many people died because of him, and then the replies are like, "Oh, people deserve a second chance." It wasn't actually him.
Yeah, it wasn't him. He was just doing what he was told and shit like that. What?
Who was it then? Who was it?
Told by who was health secretary.
Exactly. I mean, I'm mad at him for other reasons than what other people are mad at. Like, obviously, wasn't affected by not being able to see somebody. That lockdowns didn't really affect me. Uh, I'm more mad at the fact that they forced this on everybody, force things on everybody. Now we know those certain things don't work for the reason, like everywhere was told, get this, it will protect people around you. Transmission don't even work. What was the point?
They didn't even test anything. They just whapped something up and said everyone needs this.
Yeah, and
They don't know if it works, or they don't even know what the fuck it is.
this rat cried on Good Morning Britain. I'm so proud of this being pushed out. Pretty sure the one that they pushed out anyway is banned in so many countries because of the effects of it. So what are you proud of? And then he's done such a bad job. He coincidentally gets caught cheating on his wife just by coincidence. It's funny that he gets fired. A year later, 2 years later, he's on everybody's screens again. And they say he's been fired as a politician. Give it 5 years. This man will be in politics again.
So is he not an MP anymore?
Apparently not. Apparently not. Right?
I thought he still was.
He might be for his own constituent or whatever.
He shouldn't be part of anything to do with politics.
But mate, give it 5 years and he'll be like, I'm running for Prime Minister. Are you?
To be fair, none of these cunts should be part of politics.
Well,
what I was saying to you, Aaron, is politicians shouldn't be in I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. We shouldn't be seeing the people who should be running our country as celebrities.
No, they should, because I want to see people like Boris Johnson doing bush tucker trials and potentially getting voted by mother. You know what? We should change the whole voting system, make it like that, and the winner becomes Prime Minister.
Yeah.
That would be more interesting and more people would watch and vote and care. That's what I mean. I've just made them $1 billion as well. £1 billion in marketing, blah, blah, blah.
That's true, that having a campaign where they're all in, maybe not I'm a celebrity, get me out of here, but they're all in something where it's reality and more people are going to actually watch them.
Just make it a reality TV show and girls will be uploading it on their Instagram stories and be like, oh my God, look at this. Like they do with Love Island. Like anybody gives,
Just chuck all the people who are running into Love Island or Big Brother or something.
Yeah, but then you look at the people that watch these TV shows in the first place. They are I'm sorry if I offend anyone, but they are the lowest IQ people you will ever meet. Trust me, the people that watch Love Island can't even hold a conversation with themselves. That's the thing. And if I meet a girl in the future that actually, this is a dating requirement for me. If I say, do you watch Love Island? They're like, yeah. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm going because I'm not dealing with that. And these people, that's what I mean. Just give them reality TV shows. Give them fast food, give them everything, and they don't care what goes on in the world. Because as long as Tommy Fury and Molly May are kissing a teddy bear on TV, who cares, right?
Yeah.
Cares?
And that's what fills in their week when they're outside of work or even in work. Because when I used to work and Love Island was on, everyone just literally talks about Love Island all day, goes home to watch Love Island, and then gets pissed on the weekend. That's most people's life.
The 9-to-5 life as well. I know, I know you guys work full-time jobs, but the 9-to-5 life is literally modern slavery. They've given people money to buy food and food and drink, whereas before they would make you work and you would get that, right? They just give you food and drink. Now they've given you money to spend on those things. And people will stay in those same jobs. You get the odd, we were talking about how people don't stay in the same jobs, but genuinely people will stay in the same job and not care, right? And maybe they're the happiest people because they don't know any better. And sometimes I wish I was a low IQ moron who watched Love Island because I would be happy, right? I'd be happy.
Ignorance is bliss, right?
Exactly. And these people don't know any different, and maybe that's the issue. But I don't understand how people are genuinely happy staying in the same position, working for companies that if you left tomorrow, they don't care about you.
Yeah, they'll replace you.
Everybody's replaceable. And, maybe... that to me is one of the biggest ones, and I have this conversation with so many people.
I think though, without those kind like people who are sort of content with just doing that all their lives,
Oh yeah, we need those people.
then we need those people to make the world go round. Otherwise,
Not only that, just so they can serve me when I'm drinking and I can laugh at, I need you to pour that drink for me, because otherwise, am I going to do it myself? No. Yeah. But no, we always need, and that's what I mean, we always need those people. I'm just so surprised people are content. It's like they've given people enough to be content, but not too much. And not too much, and not not a little. Okay. Because that's when revolts happen and people protest, which I'm surprised people in this country aren't. I don't know if you saw the other day that blackouts were supposedly meant to happen.
yeah, I think you mentioned it. It was supposed to be last week, wasn't it?
Yeah, they were going to decide if we're going to have blackouts or not, and we were going to pay people to not use energy. So a tax-funded company, the National Grid, was going to pay people to not use. They're basically giving you your tax back and say, look, here you go. And people just sat at home and was like, oh, I'm a celebrity. So why aren't you in the street? These people are mugging you off and you don't care. And, and I think cowardice is one of the biggest things we're facing right now. Especially in men. Men are just cowards. I see so many men who could be so much better, but because of everything going on in their heads, the conditioning, they just don't care.
Well, I feel like men are being feminized these days.
Oh yeah, it doesn't. The male, get rid of that. The male gender don't even exist anymore.
That's what Jordan Peterson speaks so strongly on, how men are being feminized.
Yeah, I look down between my legs. I'm like, is that it? I don't know. Am I a man? Who knows? Maybe I should do a documentary saying what is a man, because nobody really knows at this point. But that's what they want. They want the women to become the men and the men to become the women.
Because men have always been the ones who will go out and fight. So when this tyranny does sort of rain down on us and everyone's been feminized, no one's going to stand up and fight.
Yeah. And that's why Andrew Tate got banned, because he was helping the military age males become better. And that's the main group they don't want being better, because that's when revolutions happen, right? If you keep them feminine, they're not going to do anything,
Also, as well, like you were talking about how they want to break up the houses. Back in the day, women didn't really used to work. Men used to go and work and bring back the money. And the mother, the woman, she used to take care of the kids and stay at home all day. Now they're saying, well, women rights, women should work, women should get equal pay. Which, yeah, fair enough, they should. But it's all just to push women to go out and work and be equal and not be that stereotypical stay at home and care for the children. But then it gets them competing, because we're competing now.
The thing, when women can be strong and do well in today's society because it's so easy, not that it's easy, it's so comfortable. But when shit gets real and it gets physical, then that's when men become the dominant people, because of physical beings are stronger, mentally. Yeah. So back in the day, there's all this stuff around men oppressing women and all the stuff we've been fucking taught since we've been yay high. But that's all come about because we've come from a physical, where men were working in factories and coal mines. And it's only now where the jobs, you don't need to be in a coal mine, you don't need to be physical, you can work in an office, you don't need any muscle, you don't need any strength. So now it's coming into a play where women can be just as strong as men in today's society. But if shit does get real and we have blackouts and no one's got any fucking food, then what happens then? And the women are coming to the men to fight.
Yeah, Megan Thee Stallion's not going to save you then. Look, I have no issue with women working, do what you want. But women are always going to be happier being a mother, because that's what women were put on this planet to do, right?
Genetically, yeah.
Yeah, and men are happiest when they are out working for their family. But now they flip that, and which is why you're seeing so many men are now lonely. Because women are thinking to themselves, I don't need a man, I can self-sustain myself. Why do I need this guy? And the average looking woman is looking for somebody better than her, because she'll get 300 likes on Instagram just posting cleavage, and she thinks she's a higher value woman than she actually is. When really those people in real life would just walk straight past her, not even give her the time of day. So you're seeing a loneliness increase in men, and you can talk about testosterone, but testosterone levels have been the lowest in men today than they have ever been. most men have the same testosterone levels as their grandfathers.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
Yeah, I've heard that. It's fucking crazy.
Yeah. And it's so hard to avoid things that don't lower your testosterone because it seems like everything out there just magically does, you know. And again, we can talk about when shit hits the fan and war breaks out, because I genuinely do think in the next 2 to 3, 4 years there will be a big war. Like, it's just so many things are escalating to a
It
point
looks like
where
it's all aligning into
it's like a chessboard, right? Who are you going to expect to be on the front line? Us three mugs, not whoever's, not Molly May, none of that crap. You're going to soon be going back to your gender roles. And then if you look at countries in other places in the world who are closer to the survival line, the gender roles are still there. And the men are still going out just for a bit of bread, and bringing that home. And then, like, you can use the example of who builds the roads in this country. I never ever see, like, this is going to sound sexist, but I don't care. You never see a woman building the roads. It's always the men.
Well, I've seen the stats. I don't know them offhand, but the stats for people on oil rigs, people are building the roads, people building infrastructure, people keeping the electric grid on. I don't know the stats off my head, but it's all high percentage males.
Yeah, because that's what males do. Males, ever since the dawn of time, have sacrificed themselves for a higher purpose. And they're bred, like, in the past, they were just bred to sacrifice their lives in war, blah blah blah. It's always been
we take more risks than women, because women naturally are mothers, so they're protective of their offspring, whereas men are the hunter gatherers, will go out and do the dangerous jobs to bring home the meat. And in today's society, bringing home the meat means bringing home the money.
But no person on that side wants to do the jobs that they supposedly want.
Yeah. Like, they talk about equality and having 50-50 gender roles, but it's always for these high-flying, like, sea-level jobs. But it's never for, like, a bricklayer or somebody who works on the roads or somebody who works on the rails.
I never see one feminist crying because they can't get a job as a binman. You don't want those jobs, do you, darling? No, you want the high-paying jobs just because you're a female, or
I don't think I've ever seen a female binman.
Well, no, because it's too lower class for them. They don't want to do that. But people want jobs based on their gender. I'm non-binary. I'm a trans woman. You're not a woman. I'm a female. Give me this job now. I'd be more than happy as long as you do all the jobs that other men are doing.
And it's always the nice jobs in, like, fucking Twitter, where you're going in for a coffee. Did you see that day in the life of a Twitter employee?
Is it to do with that girl that was blowing in a bag or something? Oh no, that was a Twitter interview, I think, of an ex-employee. I don't know if it was real. I just saw some screenshots. No, I've not seen it. Oh,
no, it was like
the TikTok.
She was doing it. Yeah. She was doing like a tour of the office, and if it looked like a bloody holiday camp or something.
I've done more work making my breakfast than that woman did during her 8-hour shift. And then they wonder why everything's so bad.
Did you see what Elon found in Twitter?
I saw he's going to reveal some stuff.
No, he found... it's already been revealed. I think he put it on Twitter himself, but he found this.
It's about Hunter Biden.
Oh, hashtag stay... Yeah.
All these stay woke t-shirts in the cupboards.
That's insane. But this is the thing as well. These social media companies have protected the leftist view for so long. And now you really have to look at the people that are scared of just people having a different opinion. If you're that worried, says more about you, of somebody disagreeing with you.
Yeah, well, it's self-entitlement. That's what it keeps coming down to. It's the lack of, what's the word? Lack of empathy, maybe, for other people. We don't care. Like,
no.
Most people don't care.
They act like they care. They have all these donations. I'll donate to this, donate to that. They don't care. They just literally want to be part of something.
They're just virtue signaling, aren't they? Everything they do is a massive virtue signal, and then the actual real shit, they're just not even focusing on. And then the people that actually talk about the real shit, like us three right now, we get fucking ostracized for it.
Yeah, I mean, like...
Yeah, we're the villains here.
I don't mind. Like, you know, I've done videos before where I've got thousands of comments I hate because that's all it is, just pixels on the screen. And it's crazy how I could get, or you could get, thousands of people disagreeing with you and hating on you, and it wouldn't affect you. But for somebody out there, they'd want all those people to have their jobs taken away from them, or cancelled, or banned. It's like, just turn off your phone. But people have the sole intention these days of getting up and getting offended. It's like they want to be offended.
Also, just another point, like on what you just literally touched on it before about, I think what you said was women get 300 likes on a post, and they automatically go into the category of being better than the man who gets 30 likes, for example. One thing on that is if you go through Instagram and see the amount of girls that have ridiculous amount of followers because they have cleavage out, because they've got bikinis on, there's a ridiculous amount of girls who have a ridiculous, like, over what, 100k followers, 100,000 people are their fans in that sense. What I think there's going to be a problem in these girls all feel like they're at the top of their game because they've got 100,000 people following them. But in 30, 40 years time, when looks no longer play the part in their lives, there's going to be a massive fucking generation of older women who are going to be depressed. Fucking,
You're already seeing that now.
yeah, because it's coming up to that stage now where they're obviously,
Yeah, and those older women, that guys on their level don't want to date them. Because if you're 30, 40 and you're still single, how many people have you been with? You know, like, it's crazy. And the girls that are even following those girls that have all these followers are making themselves depressed in the first place, because you're only following them because they offer you something that you don't have. You're interested in what they have, which is just making yourself depressed. And thinking about it now, it's not even the girls' fault themselves, the girls that post these pictures. It's the lonely men who then donate to these girls and like these pictures. Because if you didn't do that, they'd be like, "Oh, my life's over." If I don't get, it's like me. If I don't get a certain amount of views, I'm like, I'm panicking. You know, if you didn't give all these girls who have nothing else going for them than just what's on the outside, if you didn't give them any attention, it would be a very different place. But these men are so lonely. They just need a tiny bit of attention. I don't know if you've looked into the Twitch streaming thing.
No.
Like, guys will donate to these
Oh,
girls
yeah.
who
Yeah.
are
Oh, okay.
streaming, and do you know what they get in return? $300, my friend, and you just donated for a wave. That's enough for him to go and jack off. These men are
That is embarrassing.
lonely. I'm telling you, and that's the real issue today: the loneliness and the feminization of men. But I don't think England really, like, I don't think that's a big thing in England right now. We're too concerned with an armband in Qatar for anybody to care, or it's something else. I think most of these issues we've spoken about are things Americans talk about. Like, I don't actually know what English people talk about. Like, you know, and I think we're told in this country everything's fine, everything's okay. Like, oh yeah, inflation might be high, which is bullshit anyway, because they make it up as they go along. Everything's okay, you know, don't worry, blah, 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 blah. We might give you some more eggs, you know, you can buy 2 at once, be happy. But you can just search robbery, stabbing now, and there's probably one this minute. And everybody always compares America with its gun, said, oh, so many people are killed. Yes, they are. It's not the person, it's not the gun itself, it's the person who does it. But you can't say anything when, yeah, okay, more people die from a shooting, but you search stabbing right now and there's one this minute. You know, we have our own issues and we don't address them because we're too focused with everything outside of our country. You know, we want to change everything to fit our ways, when really we should be fixing our own self.
Yeah, it's fucking true. You can see the country's like, just look around you, the country's falling apart.
Yeah, I know. I go down.
We're so focused on pointless shit. At the end of the day, it's pointless.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Matt Hancock, but even that's pointless.
Yeah,
you know, like, it's just all pointless crap. And then everybody like thinks to themselves, why am I in this position? Why am I so depressed? Why am I so poor? Why am I so broke? Because all you care about is this crap.
but then those people who are sort of saying, "Oh, why am I so depressed? Why am I so poor? Why have I not got what he's got?" Or blah blah. They always look to blame something else or someone else or look for help elsewhere. And I think they want people in a, when I say they, the powers that be or the government, I don't know, they want people in a position where they're looking for help so the government can be the ones to step in and play mum and dad to these desperate people.
I tell everybody, politicians are only there to cause the issues, so you then think you need saving. So they say, "Oh, do this for us, and it will be fine." You know, get your 8th one, it will be all fine. And people are like, "Oh yeah, my life is at threat." You know, it's never been at threat. It's never been at threat. You are so comfortable, unless you go to London and wear nice clothes, nothing bad is going to happen to you, right? And that's what I mean. And then like everybody, like even people my age are still scared of this thing. I had to stop hanging around people that actually wore the mask. I can handle it.
But you still know people that wear the mask.
Yeah, if people in my life are scared of a new strain, I don't want them in my life because we're gonna all meet up and they're gonna be like, "Oh, have you heard about this new thing?" I'm like, if it's gonna kill us, right, then nobody has a chance. We're all healthy, right? If it's gonna kill me, nobody has a chance, you know? And I'm still alive. I've not even had anything, right? And then they can talk about, well, you need the thing to stop the symptoms. It's like your chance of surviving is in the 90% anyway. The only people that need it are the people that have had their immune systems compromised, right? But they're old anyway. So it's like, of course they're going to need something, you know? So it's just always moving the goalposts, you know?
Yeah, what is it? Someone said they'll slap a problem on you with the right hand, and then offer you a solution with the left hand. That's what the politicians do.
Yeah, and they'll keep. I don't know how many more times people need to get slapped, eat this shit sandwich for them to realize these people don't have your best interests at heart.
But then that's the thing. Once they slap you, and then by the time they've handed out the solution, you forgot about the slap.
Yeah, I mean, Matt Hancock slapped everybody in the face, and they've all forgotten. You know, the bruise is still there, but they're like, oh, you know, they've fallen in love with him. Stockholm syndrome. They all fell in love with their abuser. But you know, and that's what I mean. I've always had this dream of moving to America, but I'm like, I feel like I'm in a worse position if I move from America than this country. You know?
Yeah. I wanted to move to America. I'll say about a year ago, but I don't think.
Where did you want to go? Just out of interest.
Texas.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Texas isn't that bad.
No, yeah.
What I like about America is the state system where if you go to California, it's completely different cultures than if you went to Texas or Florida. Whereas in the UK, it's all pretty much the same shit. London's probably a lot different to the rest of the UK,
but all the rules are the same though.
Yeah, the rules are exactly the same. Yeah.
Like you go to one state and pronouns are legal, like you have to address everybody. Whereas you go to Texas, nobody gives the imaginary things, you know, fairy dust. That's the thing I like about America. But you know, I mean, again, there's always things people can complain about. But I truly think places like Dubai are the places to live now, you know, because the people are just different over there. It's clean, no crime or anything, you know.
It's well managed, and to an extent, it's a lot sort of more neutral than I would say England or US is.
It's literally like I think religion plays a big part in it.
Yeah, you've been saying that.
Yeah, I didn't realize in Dubai they literally like put on speakers like stuff to do with Islam. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
But you know, maybe it's like how we used to be with Christianity. Everybody used to be collectively together. So that's what they're like over in Dubai. And it's just interesting how different countries are living in their own world. And it's like the planet's not even that big, and yet we have one side of the world so messed up. Like, let's just put it bluntly, it's messed up. But like, it's fucked. I've given up. Like, you know, I used to have the patience to help people and be like, no, you need to do this, you need to do that. But I'm like, no, you can stay that way. I don't care anymore. You know, I'm more focused on hanging around with the people that, you know, are also the same.
Yeah, because how fucked we are at the moment when you do try and give someone a handout, I won't say a handout, when you do try and pull someone and help them up and give them some assistance with what's going on, they get offended by it.
Well, yeah, because they don't want a solution. They want to cry. They want to start a hashtag, and that's what it comes down to.
They want
But
the
you're-
drama because they're so used to watching this shit like Love Island and I'm
Well, yeah,
all
people
this-
go to sleep watching crime dramas, man. They go to sleep with people. Oh my gosh, cliffhangers. People want that then in their real life.
Yeah,
You know,
well,
that's-
even from like EastEnders and Coronation Street and Hollyoaks and all that sort of stuff.
You know what? That is the lowest level of entertainment, and I don't understand how these ants on the ant farm still go
It's
downstairs.
actually really popular still, isn't it? I didn't realize how many people actually still.
Is it still
view it.
popular?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't understand it. I just don't. Because it's pretty sure they just recycle story. You know what? It's pretty much how the world goes, right? It's just recycle storylines.
Mm.
Yeah.
And maybe politics, governments are the big reality TV show that everybody tunes into.
For sure. The government is like an entertainment. It's like a comedy show sometimes when they do shit. And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking, how are people buying this crap?
Well, how would you change the world? How would you, if someone could give you the keys right now to change the
Fucking
world
hell.
and you're in charge of doing it, how would you do it though?
That is a deep question.
It is, it's a deep question. I already have my answer. Well, the thing is, right,
I've never actually pondered on it.
you would have to kill me after I change the world because the power would go to my head and I would feel like I'm in control of everything. And I would happily sacrifice myself for the good of everybody, you know. But you have to get rid of classes. You know, we were saying we always need them, but you have to get rid of them. There can't be any sirs behind people's names. You can't have royalty because they are literally the embodiment of you're poor, I'm rich, right? You need to get rid of all of that. You need some sustainable energy from somewhere. You need everybody collectively fighting on the same like aligned path. You can't have people just suddenly want to go this way, you know, and the freedom of choice still has to be there. You know, I wouldn't get rid of pronouns and stuff because I just couldn't deal with the backlash. I'd just be like, right, you have that, but then you still have to abide by this, you know. At the end of the day, people just want what's fair. I don't think anybody has a solution. That's why I asked you, because I thought you might have the solution. You know, because some people might have
I
something.
guess that's why we're doing the channel, to try and figure out what the solution is.
It's a good question that I might have a think about. It's not something you can answer just like on a podcast in a
No. I mean, you could
something
fix.
to like ponder on.
Yeah, you could fix the main issues, but it's like then there's always something else.
I think my biggest, like the biggest thing I would fix, like ask me right now, is get rid of corruption.
Yeah, but it doesn't make you corrupt because you've then you've then corrupted to get rid of that thing. So doesn't that make you just as bad? Because how would you get rid of them? Because you can't kill them because that would make you just as bad as them.
Yeah, how I do it is I don't know, but that is like if I could get rid of one thing in the world, corruption.
And you
straight
can't
away.
convert them because they're so far gone.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Like-
it's like we were saying before, their life is, their heads think differently than everyone else's.
And this is what I think it comes down to, right? Everybody, the people that don't believe in the things going on is because they really think that these people just wouldn't do that. There is no way they would do that to us, you know? But the fact is, these people come from different walks of life. These people come from different families. Just because you wouldn't do it doesn't mean some messed up trillionaire who has got their money from people sacrificing themselves wouldn't do it. You know, because people will do anything just to make sure they don't have to go outside and fend for themselves and actually work, you know. And
It's like majority of people that I know and majority of people that I'm aware of wouldn't shoot up a school. But there are still people that would shoot up a school.
well, yeah, there's good and bad people in the world, you know. That's always going to be, just some people are more bad than others. But I don't think you could get rid of everything completely because then you need some sort of balance. You know, maybe you need the corruption to be able to tell the difference between good and bad. you know, because then if you just enforce your worldviews, aren't you just as bad as everybody else?
I think poverty is probably something that could get fixed.
Yeah, but we could have solved poverty
That's still
50,
we could
60,
fix it tomorrow. It could be fixed tomorrow. There's this
60 years ago. Could have been
yeah.
fixed.
It could be fixed in an hour if it really needed to be.
But these charities who are scams need the money. You know, it's like talk about children in need. Millions every year. Where is that money going? Is it another FTX scandal that we don't know about?
It's all
Where's
pointing to the same people that have caused the problem. All the money goes back to them.
I was reading an article, and I think 20. It's a wide range, but only 20 to 90% of the money charities get goes to the actual charity. So look at the low end of the scale. Only 20% of that money goes to the charities.
Yeah, and most charities have some influence from somebody in a position of power. So it's like, who are you? Like,
That's corruption. So corruption's caused poverty.
yeah, but I don't know if you can cure all poverty though, because I just think it'd be totally impossible. But I think the roles are going to flip soon, because who do you think is going to be the next global superpower?
In terms of country,
Yeah,
China.
I don't think so. You know, I don't think so.
I would have said China not long ago, but now I don't think it would be
But
China.
they have the power to take over tomorrow.
They could crash the US economy. They hold enough dollars to crash their economy.
I think it'll be
right
a
in second.
country that nobody knows about. I think most countries now are just so weak that when war does break out, we're all going to get destroyed completely. It's going to be hilarious how bad it.
I think what will happen is China will go and try and be the superpower. USA will not let it happen. And then
Well, the only thing that hasn't happened so far is China invading Taiwan. That's the only thing that hasn't happened yet. And I'm pretty sure that's just a situation of when, not if.
yeah, that's like it's a ticking time bomb.
But it's all perfectly done. Like, coincidentally, as soon as everybody stops talking about this virus, Putin then invades magically. Surely during that period, that would be the best time to go, because everybody's locked in their door, locked inside. All you have to do is just demolish houses, you win. But I watched a recent Russell Brand video as well. I don't know if you've seen it, about the Ukraine war and how it hasn't just magically happened now. It's been going on for years and years and years.
Yeah, since 2014, maybe even longer than that, really.
Yeah, but again, who's to blame for the war breaking out?
Well, I was listening to what's his name? He was on Rogan. Can't remember his name right now. But he was talking about like the history of it all. So I'm not sure if you fully know the history.
I know 2014 is where that's where
Crimea
stretches as far. Yeah.
Yeah. So before that, when the Soviet Union was around and all of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when that was literally on the brink of nuclear war, USA and USA and Soviet Union agreed that they'll stop the war if Soviet Union sort of split up and do their own thing. But in that agreement, Soviet Union said to America that you won't move NATO any further east. Since that agreement, America had been moving NATO further east until they got to the point where they're on fucking Russia's border, playing around with Ukraine, trying back and forth. They're going to join NATO. They're not going to join NATO. They're going to join it. Like proper, just like poking the bear.
But you don't kick the hornet's nest without expecting a reaction, you know?
Yeah. So then I think the 2014 war happened. Well, Russia invaded Ukraine because of that, and they thought, all right, we'll put a stop to that. Then Trump came in power, and I don't think he fucked around. And then Biden comes back in power, and then
this is what I mean. Most people don't even know this. People just think Putin just decided woke up one day.
That's what the media is telling everyone.
And chose violence. You know, he just woke up suddenly. Oh, I'm going to invade Ukraine today. No,
there's a lot more to the story than what the media is saying, and people just are looking at comparing Putin to Hitler, but he's nothing like Hitler. He's being poked, he's been provoked, and he's attacked. I'm not saying what he's done's right. I'm not saying what the USA's done is right as well. Both sides are wrong, but we shouldn't. I fucking hate war. We shouldn't be in the middle of a fucking war.
The craziest thing is, I heard that an agreement was closed between Ukraine and Russia this year. Magically, after they were visited by Boris Johnson and all these other people, they just pull out. You know, like a guy taking a girl home. He just pulls out magically. Why? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And then it's like when that missile landed in Poland, Zelensky, my man, my favorite person right now, got on camera and called for everybody to get involved. This is a terrible act, brother. Right, let's just pretend it was by accident, right? Your own people accidentally did that. And you're calling for people to get involved. I almost got drafted. I almost got put on the front line with somebody that's non-binary because a man just called for this to happen. What? And that's all forgotten about now. That's all forgotten about. Nobody's forgetting it.
Literally, that didn't even last, what, 2 days?
2 days. 2-3 days. Everybody's like, World War III is trending.
And then it's gone. No one's, we wouldn't even remember it even if you
That's
asked
what I
them.
mean.
Do you know Zelensky used to be a comedian?
You know what? He's still a comedian.
He was on a sitcom though, weren't he?
His sitcom was him. I'm not sure if he was the president of Ukraine, but he was in like a political, like the sitcom was about the political thing in Ukraine, and now he's voted in. I feel like they're just fully taking the piss.
Yeah, but they are literally. I know they are literally laughing at people, and people are laughing along with them. Think, oh yeah, this is all. No, they're laughing at you, brother. Not laughing with you. They're laughing at you. It's like, you know, they're all like, yeah, what a fucking idiot. You know, we just locked them down for 2 years. They don't care. Everybody's laughing. You know, that's what I mean. I mean, obviously, what's going on in UK and Russia is terrible. It shouldn't be happening, but wars need to happen. I can't remember a period of time when there hasn't been a war, because they have to convince people there is somebody out there. Their safety is at risk.
They need to promote fear in us.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know when this war is going to end. I don't know. I don't even know what the intention of the war is anymore, because it's crashed everything. Everything has changed. So unless there's going to be a big event at the end of it all, and it's all going to come full circle, I don't know what are they that bored? You know, it's like you've got all the money now. You've donated to Ukraine billions and billions and billions. You know, could have helped your own people who are on the street dying. Nah, Zelensky is more important. Who cares, right? How is this all going to end? I don't know. Like, is it just going to end with, oh, we've just magically agreed with Russia to stop this now? You know.
You can't even think about how it's going to end.
Maybe it never ends. Maybe it's just an ongoing thing. Like in the George Orwell book, there's just an ongoing war, and then suddenly it changes. Oh, tomorrow it'll be China. You know, I actually saw a video on Twitter. Thank the Lord, Elon has taken over so far, where the European Parliament or Commissioner, whoever, the EU, said 100,000 soldiers had died, Ukrainian soldiers, and they cut it out because then it would make it look like Russia's winning in a certain way, you know? And we're being told that Russia is losing. I don't believe that for a second.
I don't believe that they're losing, because Ukraine had to call for, they've got Al-Qaeda fighting.
If Russia was losing that badly, you don't need Joe Biden to wake up and be like, yeah, here's 30 billion. It's like these things just don't click in people's minds. And then I see people with the Ukraine flag tweeting Slava Ukraine on Twitter. I'm like, you are just...
Does it not root back to, I don't know much about it. I know it's called the military industrial complex. Does it not root back to that?
I have no idea what this is about, to be fair.
Do you know much about it, Aaron?
See, I feel like this is your guys' fight, right? All this stuff, and I feel like I know about this stuff, but I'm not that educated on it. My stuff is.
I'm not massively educated on it either. I know of it, and I know the US always want to be involved in some kind of war, so they can manufacture the weapons, and someone buys the weapon or sell the weapons, and then they're just making money. It's a money-making scheme.
Well, it's like, have you seen the first Iron Man? When the rocket, I can't remember how it goes, but there's an explosion and you see a picture of the rocket and it's Tony Stark's own rocket. That's how the world works. If they produce the weapons, it then ends up in somebody else's hands magically. You know, it's like Yu-Gi-Oh cards, you just trade it underneath the table somehow. And then, you know, that's how I think it happens. I don't know if that's the similar lines as you're going.
Well, I think so. They're just fighting with the same weapons. So USA are in the middle of a war in Afghanistan. Both sides are fighting with US weapons.
Well, yeah. And then everybody's like, well, how are these like terrorists getting all these weapons? And then I don't know if you watched if you were into when Biden withdrew the soldiers from Afghanistan.
Yeah, did you see the videos of the Taliban flying the Apache helicopters?
Yeah, they left 80 billion of military equipment there. And there's people are like, well,
Oh yeah, that was well funny, that video.
Where are they getting all these weapons from? You know? That's what I mean. It's like people just need, I don't know how you even wake up these people. Like, I'll admit, right, when COVID first started, and I'm gonna say the fucking COVID, right? When that first started, I semi-believed it. I feel like everybody did. Everybody
Yeah,
thought
of course,
this is a real thing.
Yeah.
Like we've all watched the films of zombie apocalypse and stuff, and we're like, maybe this is it now. Maybe I get to live Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies. But you know, but then like certain things just stopped, didn't add up. You know, suddenly I was seeing that all these hospitals were full. Right, I was seeing all these headlines, oh, that hospitals are overflowing. Then I was seeing videos of empty hospitals. I'm like, okay, maybe coincidence, you know? My conspiracy brain was going like, nah, Josh, nah, 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 nah. Then I see, you know, I'll give you the analogy. If I went into the sea, I had COVID, I got killed by the shark, they would say I had COVID, class it as a COVID death. Then I was like, that's not right. Then the whole mask thing, you know, one day they worked, next day they didn't. And I still see the same I still see the same people wearing the cloth masks. They don't work, like, bro. They don't work. Anyway, and then they said all these people died from COVID, but then it only turned out 17,000 people died purely of COVID.
Well, they're putting through any death as a COVID death.
Yeah, and then it's like I remember during the summer, right? I was sat next to my grandparents, and they were reading The Sun. Big mistake in the first place. I almost feel like. Anyway, they had a piece, and they were saying if we don't lock people down, 500,000 people could die. Some scientist, which he probably got his degree from a back end alley anyway, said 500,000 people would
Probably
die.
wasn't even a scientist that said it. It was just probably.
It's probably some, I don't know. I don't even know. It's probably somebody who works for The Sun. Probably said, oh yeah, 500,000. Yeah. And that's insane. And that's all forgotten about. Unfortunately, I don't forget about those things, you know?
What raised my suspicions was when doctors who were speaking outside of the mainstream narrative were being cancelled or just being like censored. That's when things get censored. That's when I start thinking, why the fuck's this being censored? Like,
they suddenly go missing.
Yeah.
Oh no. You know? One day they say something, then suddenly one day they just go missing. It's interesting that nobody questions it. They just think, oh, probably died of COVID. And it's like when we saw the videos of the people in China just falling over. I don't know if you ever saw those videos.
No.
There was literally videos on Twitter of like Chinese people just stood there and then they just slump over. And people are like, oh my gosh. And then I don't know if you saw that. Do you remember when India was like a big place? And they were like, people are dying everywhere. I don't know if you remember that at all.
In India?
Yeah, so during the height of all this crap, when they realized they couldn't play the China card anymore, you know, they couldn't play that. They played the card in India. And they were saying it's getting so bad over there. And they were like, people are falling on top of each other. The bodies are piling up. That's all forgotten about. Funnily enough, when I saw a TikTok, I saw Indians posting videos of the streets fine. They were having the time of their life. And I'm like, where is this all happening? What studio set did you film this on? I don't know anymore, right? And they can't pull the same card in this country because we live in it, you know? So I just wonder what their media says about us. Are they saying the bodies are piling up in London? No, because most of them are over here anyway. So, you know, I don't know. It's just crazy. Like when you watch the Candace Owens documentary, I don't know if you watch it. You know, like at the
I'm gonna
beginning,
watch it definitely.
at the beginning, it's not as good as the What is a Woman one. I don't, because it doesn't have that comedic aspect to it.
Yeah, it's a lot more serious, this one.
Yeah,
Isn't it?
but at the beginning, she just showed a Malcolm X quote, and I don't even know too much about Malcolm X, to be fair. But he just said that the media will make the guilty people look innocent and the innocent people look guilty, and the media have complete control over people's minds. It's just a big mind control thing.
Yeah, it's just they're just manipulating. There was something that I saw, which I explained that on the podcast once, where a guy had this class full of students, and he was teaching them something, and he had two circles on his whiteboard, interactive whiteboard. One was red and one was blue, I think. And he was saying to everyone, put your hand up if you think the red. One of the circles is bigger than the other. Put your hand up if you think it's the red one. Then half the room put the hand up, and he goes, "Put your hand up if you think it's the blue one." Then the other half of the room put their hand up, and he goes, "They're both the same side. They're both the same size." But look how easy it was for me just to pretend that one of them was bigger. Not one single person said that. I don't think either of them are bigger.
No, and you know what? It's more controversial for you to say that now than anything else. Like, it's okay for everybody to change everything, and that's not controversial. But if I went into the streets of Brighton and Pride was going on, and I said something, there's more backlash for me. I would get stoned to death like it's Saudi Arabia, but they can, you know, people can just say what they want.
If you went to the Pride Festival in Brighton and said,
I'm blacklisted, I wouldn't be allowed.
you need a man and a woman to make a baby, then
you would never
which is just a fact.
You would never do a podcast again.
Yeah. I think you'd get killed.
You would. They would, yeah. And that goes, but that's not just them though. That's like if you go to any protest, I feel like, and you go against their agenda, they're just like off you there. You know, it's like during Matt Walsh's documentary, which I'm actually going to watch again because it was that good. When he was like asking what is a woman to the protest, and it almost turned violent for him just because he asked what's a woman. And I know it's in America, but I just don't understand. I just don't think people know the true extent of what is actually going on.
Yeah, you see it a lot. I don't know if have you watched Steven Crowder when he does Change My Mind?
Is that a YouTuber?
Yeah, well, what he does is he'll put a little stall up and it'll be like, there are only two genders, change my mind. And then he'll sit there and then someone else can sit. Have you seen it?
No, but I might do that now.
And then someone else will sit down and try and change his mind. And he'll be calm throughout the whole thing and just give his facts on why he thinks there's two genders, which is obviously the case. And then these people will sit down and try and explain to him why there's more. And he'll just keep stating facts on why there's only two genders. And these people get angrier and angrier because he's got he's got a return for every single thing, every point that these guys make. And then it turns out that they're just screaming at him and saying, get off campus or get off wherever he is, you get off the premises, calling the police on him, trying to get rid of him. And that's all they sort of turn to is aggression and anger.
Well, yeah, whoever shouts the loudest has the least to say. And it goes for the same. I don't know if you've seen this guy on YouTube that goes on to college campuses and asks people, why do you hate Andrew Tate?
Yeah, I've seen him on YouTube Shorts.
Yeah, he literally asked them, why do you hate them? He's misogynistic. Why is he misogynistic? And they just malfunction.
Yeah.
These people literally just repeat what other people say. And then when you question them on it, they're like, what? I don't know.
Did he not, on one of them, does he not say, can you define misogynistic?
Oh, yeah, he does, yeah.
People don't even know the definition of these buzzwords. They just use them because they see it in the newspaper, like, oh, I should start using that. And they don't even know the definition.
They just jump on the bandwagon and someone who knows the definition starts using it, and then 5 other people jump on it.
And the wheels of that bandwagon are going to come off soon. And, you know.
Talking about Andrew Tate, my girlfriend, she obviously heard about him and all negative stuff. She didn't like him. And I said, well, why do you not like him? So I sat down with her and I put on the Piers Morgan Andrew Tate interview, and afterwards she was like, actually, what he's saying actually makes sense. He's not like a bad guy. He's just got like his just views are very traditional.
I had the same experience, exact same. The only difference is I'm not like most guys who'd be like, okay, I'm sorry, I won't watch him anymore. Because that's what guys do, just in the hope they get sucked off in a week. That I shouldn't say that. But I literally sat her down, and she still does this now in front of her mum. She will put him on the TV and want to find something. She could be like, oh, shouldn't be saying that. Can't find anything. Can't find anything. And I think I told you this, I don't know if I did, at his height, she would come home, well, not come home, she would message me or call me, and I've had full-blown arguments, not because of him, but because of her friends and stuff. She was like, basically saying that I shouldn't watch Andrew Tate just based off the things her friends have said. And I'm like, but what did they say? And everything they said just wasn't true. And I say this isn't true, and then it kept on happening. Every time she went out with people, she was like, oh, Andrew Tate's such a bad person. Anyone that watches Andrew Tate is an evil person. And she was like, even the guys I was around said, oh, I don't watch Andrew Tate. And I was thinking to myself, well, they probably do. They just don't want you to know. And secondly, if they don't watch Andrew Tate and they genuinely dislike him, then they sip soy lattes 7 days a week. And I don't want to be around those people anyway. Because, you know, you can hate who you want. But I feel like if a male strongly dislikes Andrew Tate, you know, there's something wrong there, you know, because they will say they care about men's mental health until they start helping the men's mental health. And it's like, no, that's too much. We have to keep men depressed when they ban people, you know?
Pull them up and push them down. And it's just a constant pull up and push down.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really believe in depression as much as it's pushed anyway. I think if somebody's constantly telling you something, you're going to believe it. And I read this in a book. It's all about how you identify yourself, you eventually become. If somebody tells you enough that something's bad, you start to believe it, and even about yourself. You know, so if I constantly tell myself I'm unhappy, that means I'm depressed. I will be depressed. And all of these people that dislike him, dislike people, even people like us, I look at their lives and I look at them, I'm like, I don't want to be you anyway. Like, I see the lives you're living. And you, like, most of the girls that hate Andrew Tate anyway, you know, it's like they all look the same. They've all got blue hair and dye their armpits 3 times a week. And I don't like, no one wants, like, I'm sorry, you know, but sometimes you just got to say these things. This is the harsh reality of the world. And then you criticize their heroes and then they cry. It's like, oh, do you hear about that shooting in the nightclub in America?
Nope.
Was it a gay club?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that one. Yeah.
So they spun it as some guy that was homophobic.
Was he not trans or something?
Turns out
Non-binary, I think.
Guy's is non-binary and he
Non-binary,
uses
yeah.
pronouns. Do you know what's funny? Story's gone silent.
After they found that detail out, it just dropped.
It went push. And they blame so many people. Like, I don't know if you've heard of this guy called Matt IV or XIV or something.
No.
I don't know if you saw it. He's a guy that started the Andrew Tate Instagram post that got like 1 million likes. And it's like a pink and blue shade. And it's just him. It's just you know how you can put multiple pictures up at once. Every picture is just why he's a terrible person. This guy did the same for people that say the same things as us and said they were the reason as to why these people got shot. These people only come out and do these things as soon as anything bad happens. Then when it's all quiet, they don't do it. I don't even know what these people do until I see their tweets. And this guy annoys me. Like, I don't normally have vendettas against people, but this dude annoys me the most because I don't even know what he does or who he is. I just see him when anything bad happens. And his Instagram post is on my explore with 1 million likes with people with, you know, pronouns I didn't even know existed. And I'm like,
what's his name?
This is great. Matt IV or something. If you search him on Instagram, Matt XIV, something like that. I don't know what he does, but
I'll look at him after the
yeah, but you can literally see he only posts stuff when something bad happens that he can suit like a current agenda. It's like, Yeah, it's this dude here.
Oh, is that the post you're talking about?
Yeah, where it's got Tucker Carlson on the front. Yeah. He blamed all of these sort of similar people for the shooting. And now he hasn't apologized or anything. Like, this is all this guy does is just post when
He's
something
still got the
bad
post on as well.
I know.
Is that guy?
I mean, mate, I don't even know. He's got 2 different pronouns.
They.
What does that even mean?
Friendly queer Jew with very long nails.
He better not meet Kanye West then, mate. What? It's just like these are the sort of people that they have the sole intention of just getting offended and then they can post about it. And it's sad. It's sad.
I don't even look at these people online. It infuriates me a little bit.
I just get consumed by it.
I say a little bit, but it just pisses me off.
And I'm like,
I've taken a big step back from Instagram.
Instagram's the most dangerous app after TikTok's the worst.
I've deleted TikTok.
Oh yeah, it's just crazy how that app is just.
It looks like it might be getting banned anyway. TikTok.
It should be. It should have been banned years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've seen the different For You pages between Chinese, like.
Yeah, I watched a video where someone was comparing the 2 different feeds.
I've heard about differences. I've never.
All it is just like motivational. I've heard and good stuff.
It's like military, Chinese military, and how great the military is, and how great this culture is, and all this stuff.
And then you look at ours, and I've got underage girls twerking on For You pages.
It's just random magic, and people like tying cats to a fucking fan on the ceiling or something.
At this rate, I might as well be Chinese. I might as well. I can identify as Chinese, so I might as well just say I am. That's the thing, and I think Instagram, as much as they want to preach about mental health, they have so much blood on their hands, so much blood. The amount of people that have killed themselves over posts they've seen, which I don't really think you should be getting offended. Like, if it's very controversial to say, but if something's affecting you that much, you shouldn't be going back on Instagram in the first place. But you should have the willpower to recognize it's wrong. You know it's wrong. You feel like you want to kill yourself.
Well, it's not even like you don't need to not go on Instagram, because obviously I used Instagram loads and then I didn't want to go off it. So instead I just went through everyone I was following and unfollowed everyone who was pissing me off on Instagram or making me feel like shit just because of what they post.
But it's like so many people have inadvertently killed themselves because of things they've seen on Instagram. And then Instagram want to preach, we're doing this for mental health. You are the worst cause of people's mental health. It's like when I see girls that have OnlyFans in their bio and then next to it they have mental health ambassador. But you're affecting men's mental health. I don't know,
That's the reason for the mental health issue. And
I think what I'll do is when I become a billionaire, I'm gonna buy OnlyFans, and the opposite of what Elon Musk is doing, I'm gonna absolutely destroy it and I'm gonna burn it to the ground. And I would save a generation of men.
Someone else will just come out with another one, though.
Well, yeah, then I'd buy that fucker too and burn it down. Apart from woke stuff and what infuriates me the most, and I don't know how long you want to go on for, but it's just the feminization and the weakness of men. And I'm not even the most masculine man out there. I was raised by a single mom, so I have more femininity in me than probably the average guy. But even I'm like, I want to slap some people. Like, you are so broken, and it's not even your fault. It's not your fault. But it's like, I just don't understand how these people are just okay with looking like shit. And
it's because they're not. It's because of, obviously, like we're saying, our channels are hard to come across because they don't push our channels out. People that talk about this sort of stuff, it's like so hard for your average person to find it. And first of all, they've got to find it, and then they've got to be changed by it.
It's not hard though. Well, it's not as easy. It's not as easy as just finding all this woke shit, but it's not that difficult. Like Rogan, he's got the biggest podcast in the world.
He does.
Listen to him, and he preaches that masculine shit.
Well, it's like if you make a new YouTube account now, you're more likely to see James Charles, who, by the way, message underage kids, but we're not getting into that because that will just annoy me even more. But you're more likely to see a dude wearing makeup, painting his nails on your homepage than somebody like this.
Mm.
And that's the issue. Like, they don't want it being pushed. You
Yeah,
know?
they don't. We can't help it because
Yeah.
global elites don't want it.
Yeah, but this thing is, even when shit hits the fan, they're gonna wish people were more masculine, because when people are raiding their homes, they're gonna wish they had some tough masculine dude as a security guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like, have you seen the Dark Knight films?
yeah,
Yeah.
You know, in the third one where it's like everybody it just breaks out, everybody's for themselves. Rich people get like put into their own court, which is basically what happens in Portland. You know, that's pretty much the Dark Knight right now.
yeah. It's just full carnage, right?
Yeah, when that happens, these people are gonna wish that the masculine men were still around, because when nobody can protect them because your money won't mean anything when you're dead, they're gonna wish they didn't do that. You know?
Because
So
yeah, your money's irrelevant. The amount of followers you've got on Instagram's irrelevant. The amount
yeah.
of tweets, reposts you get on your tweets going to be irrelevant. It's
Mm.
going to be about how you hold yourself.
I mean, to me, from what I see, this is just. Do you believe in karma or not?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I fail to believe in it any longer,
to a certain extent.
because I don't believe how these beta males can sit on their chairs and still be in their positions without karma coming around, unless we don't see it in their personal life. Which,
Well, like, sorry to interrupt, but
it's all right.
with karma, I believe like if you do good for,
Oh
for
yeah,
yourself and for the people around you, then
good things.
you're
come
gonna
back.
feel better in yourself. And I feel like these beta males or these woke people are complaining on Twitter all the time. They're they're genuinely not happy people.
Nah, they're not. But what I'm saying is, I don't understand how these evil people in the world haven't experienced something back, because they just keep on pushing and pushing and pushing and pushing.
Mm.
And I
And
don't
it doesn't
know.
look like it even eats them up inside.
Nah, maybe they just worship a certain individual, and that's why.
But then there's that, yeah, which is looking more and more likely the more and more stuff that's coming out recently.
Well, yeah, but that's what they do. That's what those sort of people. I saw Andrew Tate say it, and I've known this for years. It's the hidden and plain sight method. They put it out there so they let everybody know that they do it, because they believe they won't get any karmic reaction from it. And that's, it's correct.
That's some scary shit. That rabbit.
Yeah, I stopped going down that rabbit hole, because when you read, like, the horror films got me on it, because I remember seeing certain stuff and I was seeing stuff to do with it. I was like, surely that can't happen. And then you look at it and it's like, right, so this might actually happen in the real world. I mean, I don't believe in.
I was listening to Alex Jones and Joe Rogan. I was listening to their podcast yesterday.
Yeah, craziness.
I think it's the second one, and he was talking about. I don't know if you've heard of the occult.
Yeah, man, the
Yeah.
occult. They're
So-
watching this right now. I mean,
It was. What's the word you say? Sorry.
they're watching this right now.
All right.
They're here. They're with us.
Someone on
Um,
Zoom is just.
They're
Yeah,
saying
someone on
that,
Zoom will be in this call with us now.
Nazis. Well, Hitler. He was obsessed with the occult, and I think he went to India and did all this shit to like learn their rituals and brought that into the Nazi party. So then these high-level Nazi, I don't know what people high up in the Nazi party were like believers in the occult. So when America and the West won World War II, or America and UK won World War II, America took a load of the Nazi scientists
Oh yeah, I've heard
into
about
America, into NASA, and started using their technologies that they developed. But it also brought with them this belief in the occult, and this has spread through the elites in America now.
that. Well, I mean, the occult. I think the occult's been around for like centuries and
Yeah, it has.
centuries. Like maybe it's still here. Who knows? Like,
They say it goes all the way back down to, but like Egyptian times, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
back all the way, like, I think Hinduism, there's a lot of occult stuff in Hinduism, which is the oldest religion today, which is fucking pretty much ancient. God knows how long Hinduism and those religions where Hinduism stemmed from, it goes all the way back then. So, but from like modern day, like up to from the Nazis to it spreading in America, it makes sense that they worship these demonic idols.
well, yeah. Firstly, it was that. Now it's woke agenda. That's the new religion. That's the new shit. But I mean, I don't know, because like I feel like there's so much to support it, and there's so much fucking I'm sorry. There's so much to not support it.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. Well, what do you think about all the new stuff that's coming out? Do you know, with like Megan Thee Stallion and is it Little Nas X?
oh yeah, no. They're fully godless and worship any bad thing on the sun. I do not believe Lil Nas X didn't enjoy twerking on the devil in his music video. He enjoyed that. I don't care. And anybody that endorses that guy needs to looking at. Yeah, at first I thought they're just being told to do this, but there's only so much you can be told to do before you start enjoying. Like there's just no way, you know. And I believe sometimes these people are purposely put there. Like I don't believe Megan Thee Stallion, Nicki Minaj are there because they're great singers. Are there? I think they're there to corrupt the mind of girls. It's got so bad that I'll be in the car with my girlfriend, and as soon as one of them come on, I'm like, nah, turn this off now, because I don't want that in my mind, you know. And it's so like it sounds silly, but it's so easy for it to then be in your mind because you hear, you know, Nicki Minaj WAP, and then that's in your mind, and then you think about it all and like, oh, you know, and they want to corrupt girls, and it goes for guys as well. Like in music, all you hear is about violence.
But even
that.
is that Harry Styles song? I think it's called "Unholy."
Don't get me started. I
When
think
that comes on, like, it pisses me off
think.
because I just think it's like some devil shit.
Well,
So
yeah,
it's
and the
like-
thing is, right, I first heard this song. I think it's by Sam Smith, which they're pretty much the same
Oh, is
thing
it?
anyway at
All
this
right.
point. But I first heard that song, and the beat is actually it's quite. But then I saw it on the radio today. Before I was on this podcast, I was in the car with my girlfriend. I saw the title "Unholy." I was like, "You better wish there's no eject button here, because I turn this off now." How can people be listening to a song "Unholy"? And this is what I mean. If this was any other religion, there'd be so much backlash, so much backlash. But everyone is just so docile and acceptant of everything.
Not even any other religion, it's any other sort of culture, any other community.
Yeah, I know, but it's like how many little boys saw Lil Nas X twerking on the devil?
Mm.
And it's not
So-
even twerking, it's simulating sexual intercourse.
Yeah. But do you not reckon there is definitely something there, because you've got this shit with Balenciaga. This Balenciaga thing put the nail in the coffin for me, because I think there's definitely. I know what you mean, like they're not forced to do it, but I think they might be, and I think it comes from the satanic rituals of the global elites. They're trying to make that go mainstream rather than religion.
They've been trying that for so long. Like they've been pushing it for years and years. Like I don't know if before they got removed, because I'm pretty sure they're not on there anymore, unless I couldn't find them. Like Hillary's emails. Have you read them?
Nope.
No.
I've heard about them. No, I've not actually read them though.
Yeah, I sat down, the young little conspiracy theorist that I was, and read through all of them. And then when I saw certain things being said, it's just honestly just so messed up. Like,
What kind of things were said?
hey, listen, I don't want to get killed, so, and I know her family are very trigger happy, so let's not go there with that one. But it's just crazy. Like the gods these people worship are anything but holy. And it's not just one god, though. This is the thing. It's not just the devil. There are other entities that these people worship that have evil. Like, I'm pretty sure there's a god. Like, there's one called Moloch, where it's literally about sacrificing kids. And I read in an email that you'll never see me again. It was like, we're going to have a celebration or something to celebrate Moloch. And that god is about sacrificing kids. And that's why I feel compelled to talk about the stuff I do talk about, because the most vulnerable group are kids now. And like...
Right. I was listening to, let's got into another point. I was listening to Redacted, like I said before, the podcast, and they were talking about Canada's laws on euthanasia. And they're relaxing the laws in March next year to allow people with mental health issues and depression to apply for euthanasia. But they've also stated, one of the members of Parliament, I don't know what his name was, but he stated that it's also open to minors who show maturity.
Fucking hell.
Is that like true?
Yeah, it's on. I'll send you the video after the pod.
Isn't that just a big sacrificial ritual in itself?
That's just
Yeah,
that's absolutely
it's fucked up, innit?
that's showing how close we are to the end. If that shit's happening.
Like I truly believe we are all born in this moment in time for a reason, because not as many events, Balenciaga, all this stuff have happened in the past. It's all so together at one point. You got COVID.
It's like a story. It's like a book, the way it's unfolding.
Yeah, maybe we are in a simulation. Someone's just reading it, and we are close to the end. You know, but you got COVID, you got Russia, you've got Balenciaga acting like, you know, I'm not even going to get into that, but it's like everything's happening at one point. Like we collectively could have been born at a different time and not know anything about it, but this is all happening now, and I believe something big is going to happen.
Yeah, it feels, when I say it feels like a book, it feels like it's unfolding, and books are like part 1, part 2, part 3.
Yeah.
I feel like part 1's gone, we're in part 2, and it's on its way to this big finale ending.
Well, can whoever's reading the book flip to the end? Because I'm excited to know what happens. You know, I'm one of them guys that goes to the end and sees.
When you get into an end of the book as well, you notice that loads of stuff starts happening all at one
Things
time.
start falling into place, don't
Yeah,
they?
everything starts like locking in, and you start noticing everything that's like loads of shit just starts going on.
Yeah,
All the dots start
I
getting.
feel like we're in the middle of like everything just happening now.
yeah. And how does it end? Because I don't believe we'll get to a point where I don't know how it, like, I just don't see how civilization can carry on. I really don't. Like, how can it function? The system is ready to break, and these people know it. The rich people know it. The system was designed in such a way, like, they're scared of it. Like, it's almost finishing. Jeff Bezos is telling people not to buy products because of things that are going to come, and he's just had to lay off so many people, which doesn't make sense.
All
because
of them falling as well. All of the amount of people at the sacking.
Exactly, and when
everything's actually like
Christmas
over.
is the big time for profits, and when have you ever seen companies like Amazon get rid of people at Christmas?
Yeah, usually you hire people for the Christmas shifts.
It's crazy, absolute craziness. So who knows what's going to happen?
Imagine it's a book, and when it comes to the end and the book closes, you wake up and it's someone just reading the story to you.
I will punch that fucker in the face and be like, what are you doing? You could have picked a different book, moron. You know? And maybe he's living in his own simulation, and then his book will close.
Yeah, it's just infinite.
That's what I mean. Like, we'll just never know, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the way of the world, and I hope I don't die and nothing bad, like nothing happens. Like, I hope this, like, I look back on this podcast in 30 years when my daughter comes home with her pronouns and be like, what was the point in all that? Because nothing big has happened. You know, I'll be really disappointed.
Yeah.
Like, if you're gonna do a big war, just do it. Get out of the way. Like, I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of seeing Kim Jong-un has got rockets. No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Maybe it'll all be worth it though. Maybe all this needs to happen for it to.
Well, as long as we eradicate some of the bad stuff, go ahead. You know, do it. But like, I when you really think about it, it's just when you sit back and just observe everything. All of this stuff, it's like an equation. Not all of this is good. Like, you don't get an end result. Something is going to happen, you know?
Yeah.
And maybe that's when aliens finally come down and
stop it.
Tell us, we've been watching you for all these years.
They might be watching us do everything unfolding, and then just before it's about to happen, they might come down and say, enough's enough.
Yeah, well, if I'm ever in a room with those guys, I'm telling you. I don't care how strong those guys look. I'm going, because like I don't know, man. Like, it's interesting to talk about it though, because like I'd rather have these conversations for hours than whatever else these people talk about these days. I don't even know what they're talking about.
What happened on Love Island last night. There's even podcasts that come out to talk about Love Island. It's in them.
No.
Nah, the people.
And some of the episodes, I've never actually watched one. I should actually watch one just to see.
No, don't.
But some of the episodes are 2-3 hours long.
What?
And they're talking about.
Maybe
what happened on Love Island.
I don't know. I went around my friend's house, right? And I shouldn't really be talking badly, but this pissed me. His girlfriend was watching a live stream of the Johnny Depp court case. Just sat there watching it. It was like 8 hours. I'm almost like, and the people that sit through those podcasts, like, oh, they're probably
That Johnny Depp case for a lot of people was a reality show. It was
Yeah, that was
yeah,
another massive distraction.
and they're probably watching it with a mask on as well. You know, those are the sort of people, and like the feminists are still angry that Johnny Depp won. I saw feminists genuinely mad that Amber Heard got abuse. Like, are you that backwards?
Well,
Do
then
you?
even that court case to happen at a time like this, it just fits in with the narrative. It
Well,
just
yeah,
slots in
like
perfectly.
it's a card game, you know,
Mm.
and that's a card game you should look at. That's one of the first things I saw. It's called the Illuminati card game, and it's actually insane because the guy that made it got his house raided.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and if you look at some of the cards on there, boy,
What are they called? The cards? I think I've heard about this before.
I think it's literally just called the Illuminati card game. Like they have pictures. The description isn't really like there's nothing there, but the pictures and the title of the card, there are so many things that have happened in today's world that that game has predicted. So obviously he was sleeping with one of the women that is in this, and she was just telling him all the stuff that was going to happen, and he's made a card game. Yeah, it's that.
Can you buy it off Amazon?
I don't know, mate. You might get your house raided.
Is it this? Is this what it is? Yeah.
Yeah. The 1990s.
What the fuck?
Fucking hell.
Exactly.
Whoa.
I mean, I can already see the yellow hair from here. Like, you know, that looks eerily like
Hillary
Donald Trump.
Clinton.
I don't know if that's a card. That if that's a card, that is disgraceful. You know, it's like I would just love to catch one of these people in the act as well. I imagine walking into a building and you just see them doing some ritual. I would love them to catch it.
And the guy who invented this game got his house raided.
Allegedly, yeah. I remember seeing he first got his house raided and the game got banned.
Oh,
So that was the first. That's the first taste of cancel culture right there.
1995.
Mm,
Hmm.
it's interesting. But that's just like that's one of the first things I saw when I was like 14. Look where I am now. You know,
I don't get why I just saw the Twin Towers on there though. If it's in 1995.
because that was
He
what
predicted it.
He predicted it.
Oh, all of them because he predicted Donald Trump.
Oh yeah, it's like The Simpsons as well. That show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is just weird. Have you seen like the Trump when they've aligned it perfectly?
Doing the exact same, yeah.
Nah,
I was
that-
watching something about the Simpsons and all the things that they predicted, and he was going over how many people actually make cartoons that are better, similar to Simpsons, or if not better, and they've not gained any popularity, and it's for a reason why Simpsons has been so popular and it's been on for so long because they want like that to be on there.
Well, I mean, there's so many things people talk about. It's like they know what's going to happen, or it's subliminal imaging, where it's like I think they put it in film so the collective consciousness manifests it in the real world and it happens. So who knows, man? Who knows? All I know is if this went viral, like if this video went viral, we'd be all having funerals on the same day. It's interesting, though, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of short. Do you do YouTube shorts on your channel?
I used to when I did the horror games, but they just take so much effort, and it's just like I just rather do the long form. And just like,
I'm going to
you
turn
know.
this into some shorts and then see if some of them get a bit go viral.
It might do. You never know. Because in January, I believe they're now pushing the revenue, which is why the algorithm might change and videos get less views because they're always tweaking with it.
Yeah.
Unless there's some dickhead at YouTube seeing my videos and be like, "Now we need to silence this guy." Just know when you watch this back, I will find out, and I will come to California, do a world tour as well. You know. But yeah, nah, it's good that you guys are doing this, and I'm very proud that you are because I honestly, number one, don't see many British people doing it, and number two, don't see many channels like this, especially start-up ones as well, because they never get pushed. So
A lot of people, like you said, are scared to do it as well. But no, it's been good having you on, and like we'll definitely do it again.
oh yeah, for sure. It's just literally like sat down, just chat like how guys do when they're like
Yeah.
just together, and that's what
Yeah,
people
'cause
like as
I
well.
would have been happy to do this. What, we've been talking for 3 hours?
3 hours.
Yeah. 10
So this
o'clock
is-
now. Jeez.
This 3 hour thing is more beneficial than 2 hours of a Love Island fucking podcast.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know, that's the thing.
But
We've spoke about some good shit. Been
Yeah, and there's
a lot of
always
real
stuff you
shit been
can
spoken about.
always talk about. There's like it's endless, completely
Yeah.
endless.
yeah, I mean, even if we were to do another podcast with you in a month, we would have a whole new plethora of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, we could talk about my boxing match between the YouTube employee and me, you know.
Or we'll all be dead by then.
Oh yeah, or maybe, the last thing I'll see is Bill Clinton's face. Like, oh, I'm not Epstein. Don't hurt me, you know.
This video, because of the amount of keywords they're going to pick up from it, is going to
Oh yeah, oh yeah, you might have to do some real good editing with me.
We've not said the C word, have we?
Yeah.
Which
I
one?
don't mean cunt.
Oh, that one.
I don't know which one you're on about. There's so many C words you can't say now.
There's so many words you can't say. See what happens.
Yeah,
All right,
I
are we going to call it?
apologize
Are we going to
if
call
it
it there?
gets
Yeah.
stroked. Yeah, you can do. Yeah,
Yeah.
All right. Great to have you on.
Andrew, thank you so much for having me. It's been
Yeah,
great.
nice one, Josh.
And I'll see you very soon.
See you
Good
all
luck with the
later.
channel as well. I hope it goes well.
Thanks very much.
Yes.
Later,
All
guys.
right, man. I'll see you later.
See you later.
Good night.